We live? We live.
Yes, sir.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to PM in the PM. Pong and Mav in the PM. Taking care of your Thursday night the only way we know how. Got a guest tonight, a returning special guest tonight. We're going to get to him in a second. We're going to get to, of course, my brother from another, Mav, as well in a second here. But first of all, first things first, I do want to apologize to the chat. Okay, it is PM in the PM. It's Pong and Mav in the PM. It is January the 19th. You know, Caitlin put up quite a clickbaity thumbnail for us tonight, right? Quite a clickbaity thumbnail, because in fact, we're not going to discuss any of that tonight, okay?
We're not?
No, we're not, Mav. Nope, we're not. And we brought this special guest in particular for one topic. So I want you all to buckle up. PM in the PM, we are doing 2 hours on the return of Scalebound tonight. And that's why we've got Randall Thor here, because he is an expert on Scalebound topic. So you all ready? I'm ready, because I can't wait for Scalebound to come back. We're gonna do it. Yeah. No, that's not true. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that at all. Rand would probably leave the show, never come back again if we did that. So we're not gonna do that at all. But thank you all for being here. We got a lot to get into tonight. Not always pleasant conversations, but we're going to have them anyway, because that's what Mav and I do. And Rand is obviously willing to join us. So let's get into it. We got the one, the only. I gave him his big intro the first time he was on the show, so he just gets a short one this time. But we've got the one and only, the man with a million, of course, the host of one of the greatest podcasts out there. Again, one of my personal favorites since I jumped in his community. Has been such a heavy influence on everything I do in podcasting. Just simply one of the best people in the community, period. He does need to put up some more videos of his dog, however, because we do need to see that beast that is. But tonight, the guy is back. It's the man with a million. It is the one and only. It is the Rand L. Thor 19. Rand, thank you for joining us tonight, brother. How the hell are you doing?
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me, Pong, Mav. I think when did you ask me to be on, Mav? What was it, like 3 weeks ago? It's like, hey, when you could be on again? And it was just like, it just happened to fall on this week, like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think when you asked me, so it was like, nobody knew all these things would be happening.
Nope.
So here we are.
Yeah, I was worried we weren't going to have anything to talk about on Monday.
Yeah, Mav and I were in the DMs yesterday going, what are we going to talk about? What are we gonna do here? So, great timing, Rand, for sure.
Yeah, I always pick good things. So no, I mean, I don't know what we're gonna talk about. I don't know what has happened in the video game world. I did see the thumbnails, very nice. Caitlin makes pretty good thumbnails. Maybe I should hire her to make some for me.
Yeah, $1,000 a thumbnail.
I'm
just kidding.
$1,000 a thumbnail.
No. Hey, everybody knows you drive a Ferrari, Rand. So
yeah, I wish.
Just go to her for pricing, not me. You'll get overcharged if you go.
But isn't this a 2-person show? Who's your co-host?
My co-host is Mav. But first of all, have you been playing anything, Rand?
Yes, I just finished Callisto Protocol.
You did,
as well as Somerville.
Okay.
And now I am playing Evil West. Kind of getting some of the games that around the November-December time.
Yep.
I thought Callisto Protocol was just okay, kind of mid. My expectations were probably a factor. I was expecting a lot, and I sort of didn't really care too much for the melee dodging mechanic, and I didn't really care for the story or the acting. It looked incredible though, and I thought the sound design was great and stuff, but yeah, it just was like, oh, okay, it was like, Somerville. Also, I enjoyed Somerville more than it's totally different type of games, but I love like Inside or those type of experiences.
Yep.
I quite enjoyed this, but not on that level. It's a short game, like 3D sort of side scrolling puzzle game. I'm a big sci-fi dude.
Yes.
I know you know that listening from podcasts, but
oh yeah.
So the whole sci-fi angle of like invading aliens and all that sort of stuff really kind of, whetted my appetite. I was like, all right, this is cool. Like I want more sci-fi stuff. So I played that, and I'm currently playing Evil West, which is a 360 game.
That's what I've heard.
and like, it really does seem like a relic of a past age.
I love those.
It's once again just okay. You know, like the voice acting's pretty bad. Like it's like a linear single player game with co-op, but like has all these different upgrade abilities for your guns, but you can't get them all, and it's like collectibles everywhere. I'm just playing the game and I'm like, Jesus, this is really a 360 experience. I mean, it's fine, you know, but I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just like, okay, yeah, it's definitely, you know, I'm not stopping. I'm going to beat it.
Right.
But, you know, maybe I don't know, maybe expectations play, because I would watch the videos for it and I'd be like, yeah, that kind of looks cool. Yeah. And then you play it and it's kind of like, okay, well, it's like, it's all right. It's okay. I don't know, I'm getting later in the game and I hate when games do this where they throw like a couple big enemies at you and you're trying to focus on them, but then they also throw all the ads at you and they're the ones hitting you and killing you. Like I don't know. I really don't dislike that game design there, but that's what I've been playing.
Would you say, go back to Callisto Protocol for a second, Rand? I'm just curious because I don't play horror games, right? So Dead Space is probably the most horror I can get. And I know you're a big Dead Space fan.
Yes.
I know that Dead Space remake is obviously almost top of your list. You've said it before on Xbox too, if not the most anticipated game for you. Would you say playing Callisto Protocol, because it didn't live up to your expectations, actually made you more hyped for Dead Space? Or was that not even possible because Dead Space will...
I mean, I was already hyped for Dead Space. But now that I played Callisto Protocol, I was just like, damn, now I'm actually going to play a really good game. So it kind of made me even more excited. I was like, all right, now I got like the top of genre coming up here. You know, like you're playing Callisto and that's the you know, like the spiritual successor to a certain degree.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
The same creative, you know, Glenn Stofield. And it's like, you know, and then like, oh, well, it doesn't matter because I get it's weird because normally people like new IP. And here I am. I'm like, give me Dead Space. Give me it remade. Because it looks so good if you watch the trailers.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I cannot wait for Friday next week.
It does. I'm a little worried that they've gone too far, and this one's going to be too much for me. I'm not sure if I'm going to be day one yet or not, because I'm really worried that the new way that they did it, creating a seamless experience now, where there's no you know, levels per se or in between spots where you're loading in and that kind of stuff. On top of, I can't imagine them making the audio any more scary than it already was in the original, but I know that's going to be a fact with this one. I know it's going to be even more intense listening to those things bang around and scuttle through the vent system, not knowing where they're coming from. To me, that's going to be really scary, but I know you are obviously excited for it, so I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it, obviously, once you get your hands on it. Because I think a lot of people, now that they play Callisto Protocol, a lot of people had high expectations for it. And now, like you said, Rand, I think a lot of people are in your position that they're going to be going back to the king, to the original, and really giving kind of a big sigh of relief, like, yes, this is what I wanted. This is what I remember. And I think they're going to do a bang up job and make it a whole new experience. So I think a lot of the people that experienced Dead Space originally will also have a fresh experience with this one too. So I'm excited.
Who set the budget idea for that game and like the whole quadruple A thing that they were talked about and stuff? It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, seems like unreasonable expectations to have to live up to for a new IP from a brand new studio, and trying to go against some, you know, the remake now for Dead Space coming. Like, I don't know. It seemed like a dumb idea.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, to have that big of a budget for that game, I don't know. Yeah. Is Dead Space can't cost that much, right? No. I would think, but it's probably gonna be better. So.
I mean, the trailers look like it costs
a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe it didn't because you know the skeletons are already there. Where Callisto, you got to build everything from scratch,
right?
And Callisto did look expensive, so but
did.
I think EA Motive is a smaller team.
Yes, it
so
is. Yep.
My hope is that like people kind of EA got away from Dead Space. They didn't really think horror was, you know, profitable or whatever. And then Capcom's like, really? Look what we're doing with Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8. And he is like, well, wait a minute. We have a horror franchise that people like. That was a cult classic to a certain extent, right? It's like, why not redo Dead Space? And hopefully it's successful, because you know what I need, Pong? Oh, he's muted though. I can't hear what he's saying.
Oh,
man.
professional podcaster, I pushed the button. You need 2 and 3.
No. I just need 2.
Nope.
You know what? Remake 2 and then make a brand new Dead Space 3.
That's what I was going to say. Retool 3 completely, right? Retool that, change it up, but mix it in with that.
But I want 2 remade.
Yeah,
I want 2 remade in the vein of this one. And then they can do whatever they want for Dead Space 3. Make it a completely new experience, because Dead Space 3 was...
It was okay in co-op, though. I will give it that. It could be fun in co-op. But yeah, as a Dead Space experience, I hear what you're saying. That's what a lot of people thought as well. No.
Which one's your favorite? Dead Space 1 or Dead Space 2?
I'm always going to fall on the side of the original. Because it set the tone. Because I'm that way with Mass Effect. I'm that way with Dragon Age. You can go down the list.
Oh, you're one of those. You're one of those that says Mass Effect 1 is the best.
Yes,
when it's clearly
I am,
like the worst.
No, it is not.
In comparison of the other 2 games. I mean,
best RPG mechanics out of the trilogy. Sorry.
Sure, but not the best game though.
Don't care. Best RPG makes it the best game for me.
It's okay. It's okay to be wrong.
No, and that's fine. And I don't like. I got to the point now at this age, Rand, that I don't care. I am who I am, and if anybody disagrees with me, I don't give a shit. That's fine. I just like Mass Effect 1, and like I said, I fall that way in most games as well. It's the original that set it up for me. I have the most nostalgia for those games, so they always tend to be my favorites. So BioShock, same thing, right? So, but BioShock 1, I think, categorically, most people would say is the best game out of the trilogy for most people. It's probably the closest thing to a 10 out of 10 game. But Dead Space is similar to that for me. But I will say 2 ramped it up for sure. And 2 was a great experience.
1 was definitely survival horror.
Yes.
2 was more action survival horror.
Yes.
So I am also kind of conflicted with you, whereas like I like them both the same.
Yeah.
But there are some things that 2 do that are just so fun, where 1 kind of didn't do them. But either way, like Dead Space is going to be here next week. I'm so pumped. Starting the year off strong with some Dead Space, so can't wait. 2023 on the right track.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And Mav and I get Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition.
Yes.
So, yes, sir. You are right, man. You are right, Rand. It's starting off hot.
I've heard some people say, "Oh, it doesn't really count as a first party."
Of course,
game.
we knew.
I think
we talked about that, Mav.
right?
We talked about that. We knew people were going to dismiss it and say those don't count. Of course, they count.
It's not like a big first party release on console.
No,
it still counts.
But it counts. It counts. Speaking of Mav, the one and only, my brother from another, the man who owns this empire. The man who was stuck in traffic, much like I normally am during the week. Fun speculation. How you doing, brother? What you been playing this week? What's been going on besides work?
Called me fun speculation with the.
Yes, I did. I switched it up because I started Mav this
Empire, he says.
Yes.
Yeah, it's it. Welcome to the fun speculation empire. Yeah, dude, been working like crazy, a lot. So I haven't had a lot of time, as usual, the past few weeks to play a lot of games, but. When I have been again, I'm repeat. I feel like the last couple weeks, Midnight Suns and Warzone 2.0. I'm still awaiting the avalanche of games to start really releasing. I want to start playing some Monster Hunter Rise. Is that available now?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I want to start trying that. Maybe if I have time, I'll play some of that.
I thought it was available tonight. Like
I saw some people posting it was available now, but maybe they took the trip to New Zealand.
Yeah, maybe they took that one-way trip, two-way trip to New Zealand. I think Persona 3 and 4 are available.
Yes, those went live at 11 o'clock last night worldwide.
I might dive into Persona 3 potentially because I've played a lot of Persona 4, played a lot of Persona 5. Persona 3 might be something I give a go because that was only on the PSP, right?
Well, the original PS2 as well, but the PS3P was the new version that launched only on, P3P, excuse me, Persona 3, I said PSP, Persona 3, a portable, only launched on the PSP originally, but the Persona 3 itself launched on PS2.
Yeah, I feel like we're about to be in this like, hey, what are you playing this weekend? It's going to be like so many new games and stuff.
Yeah.
I do want to play. I still haven't played Callisto Protocol. I still haven't played Evil West. I'm waiting on these games to get like dirt cheap because honestly, I don't care too much about them, and I feel like eventually there will be like bargain bin type games.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I will play those eventually. Dead Space, I'll wait till it hits Game Pass like a year later. I'm sorry.
My heart, Mav. My heart.
Here's the thing. There's going to be so many damn games this year that I have to really think about what I'm going to be spending my money on and all these things.
You got the YouTube millions?
Yeah, the YouTube millions. Yeah, for sure.
Mav does not drive from Ferrari, sir.
No.
Yeah, he drives like Cadillac.
Yeah.
Right. He's a step down from you, so he can't buy every game. Come on.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, so I'm really considering like what to get, when to get, and you know, I've also I played quite a bit of Dead Space 1. It didn't click with me at the time.
Excuse
right?
me?
I know, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Right?
Yep.
Pong, how could you do a show with him?
I knew this was coming. Listen. I've got to excuse a lot of things, Rand. So this is just added to the list. Okay. Yeah. So just to get through this.
I've always felt like this game is going to be the game that maybe I'll get into this one, right? This remake, right? Because from whatever reason, it just didn't ever click. Not that I didn't appreciate that it was a good game or whatever. I just didn't want to keep playing it. So maybe this one I'll get into. If it gets dirt cheap down the road, I'll buy it or wait till it hits Game Pass, which will be in 6 months to a year or so. So I'm content with that. There's so much coming in February and March and in April and May and June. The first half of this year is so stacked that $70 on Dead Space. Yeah, I'll pass. Personally, sorry, Dead Space fans. I know there's like
62 with Game Pass.
That's true. $62.99. Right.
And this is the guy who paid full price for Need for Speed Unbound.
Need for Speed Unbound is like my is like top 5 for me last year, bro. Need for Speed Unbound is amazing. Oh, come on, it is like getting back. Need for Speed's back. You know, the Midnight Suns. It was my game of the year, but you know, I think that. There was some news that came out that I have to touch on. Somebody tagged me in this on Twitter. We're getting Power Wash Simulator content.
Oh my God, I saw this. Oh, my God, I can't. This was his game of the year before Midnight Suns.
Well, there wasn't anything the first half of the year, so like
nothing ran. There was nothing. It was Power Wash Simulator. That's it.
I was power washing houses, and then NBA 2K came out, and it kind of stole my heart for a long time too. But it's Tomb Raider shit. Like you're gonna be able to power wash the mansions and stuff in Tomb Raider. I'm excited about this. Is anybody else not excited about the Tomb Raider content in Power Wash Simulator? It's free too. I think it said it was free update, free content.
Amazing.
That's all you, Mav.
Well, I can't imagine that. I can't believe they're not charging $20 for that. I mean,
you know, what a better way to spend like 8 hours of your time. I'll have
power washing the entire Croft Manor.
Yeah,
that's freaking amazing. Yeah, no.
If
you're doing that, listen. You better get on. When does it drop? Do you know?
I didn't see. I don't know.
Okay, you better hope it drops because if you're on that while Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is out, we're gonna have some words, sir.
Yeah.
I see you streaming that, and we're not playing Age. There's gonna be issues.
Oh, I'll be playing Age. Especially Age 4. I'll be playing Age 4 more than Age 3.
Age 4, we don't even have a release date yet. We just know it's coming.
2023, right?
Right. Second half. It's one of the games in the second half, I'm sure. So, because that's why they put out Age.
That'll be the big first party game for the second half.
Could be.
Starfield's looking more and more like it's going to hit the first half, though. What was that? What was the translation from was it German Instagram or something for?
Yeah, Bethesda? It was a German, the official Bethesda. I think it was.
Yeah, German, they said a release date will be announced at the show soon.
Very soon. Very soon. Yes.
Interesting.
The exact quote.
Maybe my fun speculation stream where I went solo trying to tell everybody they're wrong that Starfield's going to be the second half of the year isn't looking so bad right now, huh? Maybe not.
Careful. Rand sounds pretty sure.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Starfield.
You know nothing. You're just guessing. I know, Rand.
I know nothing. I'm dead serious. I don't know anything about Starfield.
I know, but you've been on the train that it's moving.
Well, that not necessarily, because I was originally being like it'll be June or before June, and then like I was like, I don't know, maybe it could be second half of the year, depending on factors like is it finished on time? Does it need more polish? When's it actually launching? You know, if it's launching in June, do they want to go up with Diablo? Will they actually own Diablo by the time it comes around? Like because I would imagine if like the deal goes through, ABK deal, by the way, which, you know, hate to bring up, but whatever.
No, it's okay.
If the ABK deal goes through by then and you own Diablo 4 and Diablo 4 is 6/6/23 day one on Game Pass, in my opinion, you don't release Starfield in June then. You push it out because it's now your game. Like, why release Diablo and then 2 weeks later to release Starfield? Doesn't make any sense to me. So you would push it. Assuming, of course, that they would own Diablo by then, and maybe they don't. But maybe even releasing Starfield and Diablo at the same time is a mistake anyways. I don't know.
But
I'm not in charge of these studios to make these decisions.
It's not going to be a problem because Starfield's coming in March anyway.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to ask you guys this. Because, you know, I saw some rumors about Xbox having a Super Bowl ad, right? In February 12th, where they would show Starfield and obviously give the release date, with the release date being what? What's the release date people are talking about in March
23rd.
B3 23.
Yep. Correct. Yes.
Todd likes his fun numbers.
So Mav, do you think that's true? Do you think Starfield's coming in March?
Yeah, if I was to, like, my heart says March, and not,
what does your brain say?
March, and I'll tell you
your
why.
brain and your heart say March.
My brain and my heart say March, but I'll tell you.
What makes you think that March is it? Okay,
let me break it down to you. I had a whole stream about this. Okay,
I know you did. I saw it. I mean, I didn't get a chance to really watch the whole thing, but I saw that you did a stream about it.
Okay, so first off, right, we know that they're hitting their target. So right now, the only information, I'm only going based on the information we actually know. Okay. So the information we know is from the website for Bethesda support page. It says first 6 months, right? We know that they are on track for the other games that they said were also going to be within the 12-month period as well for first party, because Developer Direct said that those games are launching within the next few months, right? So I try and put together like next few months. So, you know, few means 5, 4, 3, or whatever.
Usually few is like 3, 4, 5. I would imagine,
and not
right?
6 or more, right? So,
usually, I don't know about you, Pong, but when someone says a few to me, I think 4. Right. So
yeah, I think 3 or 4. Yep, 100%.
So the next part of this, right? So we know that E3 is in June, and Xbox is gonna go big because this is gonna be the first big stage show that they have. They're gonna go all out for this. When they announced the Developer Direct on the official page, they also said deep dive. We're working on a deep dive with Starfield, right? Also, recently there was an interview with.
Did they? Well, hold on. You gotta get the language right. Where they say they were working on it, or that one was planned.
They said they were working on it.
Should we look this up to get the right language here?
Yeah,
let's go look this up.
Xbox Wire.
Okay. Let's go. I got it. I love it.
Rand comes with the quiz. I love this.
Okay, so it says to dedicate the proper amount of time for a deep dive into Bethesda Game Studio Starfield, a standalone show is in the works.
It's in the works. They're working on it.
In the works is not working on it, though.
Well, what does in the works mean?
What?
I'm just saying, I think Pong would agree with me on this. When they say in the works, meaning it's being planned, that's basically a synonym for saying it's being planned. It's working, it's being worked on.
Part of the plan would be putting it together, though. So
the other thing to this,
not necessarily. Sure.
Todd had an interview before, a comment or something, where he had said that they were already he's already working on putting together the next Starfield trailer, right?
Sure.
So that would be at the next deep dive for Starfield,
or would it be at the Super Bowl?
It could be at the Super Bowl. It could be at the Super Bowl, which is in February.
Do you believe the Super Bowl rumor?
But I feel like it would be if they release the game in the first half of this year. I feel like the Super Bowl rumor could be true, but I'm not resting my hopes on this just because of that rumor. But it would also, if that rumor is accurate, it would line up perfectly, because you would have a month to have full-blown marketing at that point, starting with the Super Bowl. And you would also have this February or March. It wouldn't be in January. It'd be in February or March, probably 2 or 3 weeks before release. that deep dive, right? So you'd have the big Starfield trailer at the Super Bowl. You would have a deep dive probably early March, right? 2 weeks before the game launches or so. Then you would have the big game release on March 23rd. And then the other aspects to this is we know that the rumor for Redfall is May, right?
May 2nd. Yeah.
So May 2nd is supposed to be Redfall. Now, if that actually is true, okay, that would mean that the other games, I would assume Forza and Starfield would also be somewhere either March or June, okay? Or April or March or June. Okay. So Forza, we heard in an interview before, was going into polishing phase in January. So I'm assuming they at least need 3 months for that. So if we're looking at January for Forza Motorsport entering polishing phase, I'm saying earliest April for that. So April or June probably for Forza. And if you go into the next few months, quote again, I'm leaning more towards April. Okay. And then if we look at June, if you're launching after E3 or whatever, why would you already be working on this Starfield deep dive? And then you add to this now, this was before I made this video before this German thing came out about very soon with Starfield, right? So the speculation about that in the works sounds to be also corroborated by the German Instagram account for Bethesda, right? So I think the Starfield show is in the works now. We're probably going to get it before 2 weeks before the game's release, because you're not going to do more than one big deep dive on Starfield before the game comes out. And if you're launching in August, why would you do a deep dive like in the next couple months? It wouldn't make any sense.
Well,
So,
who says they're doing a deep dive in the next couple months?
Bethesda.
When did Bethesda say that?
On their Instagram account. Very soon. What does very soon mean to you? Thanks, baby.
Very soon means different things to me and you than it does game companies.
Appreciate it. Thanks. I got a pretzel and I got coffee. Oh my God, this is amazing.
I remember when Phil said, "Hey, we're excited that Playground joined the team, and you'll see what the RPG they're working on real soon." And that real soon turned out to be 2 years later.
Yeah.
Soon is a nebulous term that can mean whatever you
But
want.
they
it to
said
mean.
very soon.
Very soon can also mean the same.
Very soon could, I don't know, maybe it's a German interpretation. Very soon means something else in Germany. I don't know. I feel like
I like your optimism.
no, I just
like
feel,
it.
I feel like here's the thing. If it came out in August, September, there's plenty of stuff to play. It's not going to be like, oh no, like I'm not going to have anything to play. Hey, but I do feel like it's an L for Xbox with the 12-month show that they had last year, right? And again, not delivering on another kind of pigeonholing themselves into this time period that they have to release the game by, and then missing it again, because that's their big game. Starfield is the big one, right?
Yeah.
And that's what everybody's excited for. That's what everybody's talking about. And that's going to be what everybody's talking about when it's pushed back. People will be that disappointed. I don't know, but people will lose faith on any announcements they have in the future when they talk about release dates and stuff again, because you can't count on them for that stuff, right? So I feel like I'm confident they're going to actually hit this 12-month span. Otherwise, they would not have done it. It would have been a huge mistake, right? I feel like they were that confident to put that out there, that all these games are releasing within the next 12 months, which that image of Starfield was on that 12-month marketing material they put out there with that within the next 12 months at E3 last year. So I feel like there's no reason to think, and with also the support page cooperating with that, now you have the Chinese boxes out there with Starfield on the box. Plus you also have Bethesda Germany's Instagram account. Plus you have Todd Howard said before they were working on the next trailer. And now you got deep dive coming up for Starfield. I mean, it's in the works. Like, I mean, to just tell everything is checking the box that they're on pace within the first half. If it's not March, that's fine. I just like that date because we know Todd likes dates, and I think the game's probably pretty close to ready.
Yeah, but I also think like if you're forming your business around when you should launch thing based around dates, you've already kind of like lost.
What would be?
Let
me ask you, what would be the best game to launch first out of the bunch? Right? Like, if
the best game to launch first, the game that's ready.
I agree.
Probably the best game to launch first.
But will Starfield ever be like a bug free?
No,
probably not. But you know, you could have as minimal bugs as possible.
Come on, Rand. You played enough Bethesda titles. You know better.
Sure.
It takes a year, 2 years afterwards, due to the modding community. It's a better game than it is when it launches, no matter what.
Yeah, no.
You
I
could
guess it
polish
depends.
that thing forever.
I mean, are you asking for like for me, Mav, like as like what would be best
Well,
for
I
me, or would it be
prefer-
best for
No,
Xbox?
like
For-
or-
if
for
all
Xbox.
things equal, like Rand, if everything was ready, which one would you drop first?
if I'm Xbox,
Yeah.
Yes.
if I'm Xbox and all the games are ready, I'd probably drop Starfield first.
Right.
Right.
I agree.
We're 100% on that.
But you know,
So, and
what about you, Pong? So we got Mav. We know what he thinks. Are you also
Yeah,
323 ride or die?
yeah, ride or die. I've been Steel started this. Good brother Steel Rain. He started the 323 as we were going through dates. He's been on it since day one. I had some May dates picked out there, but as we got closer and closer, and again, I have a lot of feelings about this because Starfield is my most anticipated game in decades, right next to Cyberpunk. So there's a lot here for me that I have to kind of put aside as well. But I think that overall it makes the most sense. I don't think they need that long or that much more polish. Todd and his team were very sure about the 11/11/22 date. Okay. You could say whatever you want to say, but Todd doesn't willy-nilly put dates on things. Okay. He doesn't. He never has that track record. You could say a lot of things about Todd. He said a lot of things that maybe were over the top that didn't necessarily pan out. There's plenty of videos about that out there, but he never puts out dates that he's not sure of. Him and his team were sure about 11/11/22. This idea that all of a sudden they're going to need an extra 8 months to polish this thing is ridiculous to me. Okay. Because I think that the game, had it not been underneath the Xbox umbrella, would have launched 11/11/22. And I don't think it would have been broken by any stretch of imagination. I don't even think it would have been as bad as what Skyrim was when it first launched. And remember how Skyrim was received. 93 Metacritic, even though it was broken on the PS3. Broken. So to me, they would have launched it. Now, would it have been as good as it's going to be now? No, absolutely not. Of course, they're polishing. Todd said they were in the polishing phase back in summer of last year. So I don't think that they needed that much time. And I think that if you are Xbox, Rand, I think that you do have to, and I think they do get it, now that they've backed themselves, they painted themselves into their own corner. Nobody forced them to come out and say it was going to be out in the next 12 months. Nobody forced them to say the rest of the games are going to be out in the next 12 months. They did that all themselves. They understand their communication, and the idea of Xbox not being able to deliver on time is a thing. And what better way to start changing that than having one of the best years you've ever had, potentially the best year Xbox has ever had in 2023, and kicking it off right and releasing Starfield because it is ready and it's ready to rock and roll. And I think the stars are aligning. Now, if it's not 3/23/23, right, then I could see an April launch. April is Space Month as well. So you've got some things in there, significance. And again, you can dismiss Todd's idea about dates, but it's important to Todd. And Todd and Phil are obviously friends. They're friends outside of the industry, have been for a very long time. Phil is going to let Todd kind of run the ship a little bit here. He has been. And I think that with the delay, them pulling back and saying, okay, no, we agree. We probably need a little bit more polish. Let's polish this sucker up. Let's get it. Let's make sure things are really smoothed out from whatever they showed when obviously Phil and everybody went out there to Bethesda, Maryland. Then that's fine. But Todd's going to say, hey, Phil, when we're ready, I want to call the shot. And we know that Todd, in many, many interviews, said if it was up to him, he would announce a game and drop it within a week. That's always been his dream. That doesn't work for marketing and big business. We understand all the dollar signs behind it. But if they can get close to that, like Mav was saying, if they could do a Super Bowl commercial, if they do have this breakdown, this showcase for Starfield ready, and they can showcase it in February, and they can deep dive it in February, and then announce the launch date a month later, that's going to make a lot of people happy. And it's the way, not just within the building itself, but outside the building. That's the way you kick off 2023, especially when you're coming off of 2022 like they did. I think that's how you erase a lot of things. So I think the stars are aligning here. Again, my 100%, no, this is my opinion. This is speculation town right here. This is the best part
Yeah,
about
baby,
this
we
podcast.
love speculation.
We love speculation town. Me and Mav are co-mayors along with Boom. So you know what? We love being in speculation town. I really think the stars are aligning. I think if it's ready, it's going to drop. I don't think any extra. And again, I don't worry about other games. And I know that people say you have to worry about it. You don't worry about other games with a Starfield. And I think that cuts both ways.
I disagree with you on that one.
Only
because Microsoft's the platform. They have to be cognizant of other publishers because Microsoft makes money off of them. I don't think they want to make anybody angry. So I do think there's that little thing of like, you don't want to release Starfield on the day of Jedi Survivor, right? You don't want to make EA angry. You don't want to make your partners angry because they are your partners at the end of the day. So I do think you have to be, as a platform holder, I do think you have to be careful of where you launch something.
Didn't Halo launch right around Battlefield?
It launched like 2 weeks.
Yes. And wasn't the reports that EA was pissed about that?
No, I didn't. Really?
They blamed it. They blamed it.
They blamed it
in their town hall meeting.
But then at the same time, wasn't also Battlefield delayed?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when Halo decided to launch, Battlefield wasn't going to be there. So things are fluid. But I firmly believe that you don't want to, you don't want to piss off your partners because you also make money off of it, right? You make money off of selling those games. You get your 30%, right? So, there's plenty of days to choose from. Like you mentioned, April. April's got nothing except for Dead Island 2, right?
Correct.
So, there's still days to choose from. 323 would be interesting. So do you think, let me ask you this. Do you think that was always the plan? Because originally it sounded like Redfall was March and there was the internal delay to early May. Would Redfall have been coming out in late March, but then Starfield targeting late March?
Correct. Because here's my thought on that. My conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it on that. They were unsure of Starfield, right? They were unsure when it was going to be ready, right? So the internal roadmap was in pencil the entire time. So my initial thought on the move of Redfall was because Starfield got ready, right? So internally they had Redfall penciled in there. You're absolutely correct. I do agree with you there, Rand. But when Todd, obviously made the call and said, "Hey, we're going to be ready. Let's do this. We're going to be ready. Let's get this going."
I also feel like they kept it out of this developer direct to not overshadow the other games. I feel like some people saw it as like, well, Starfield's not as far along as the other games, and so they separated it. I look at it as like they wanted to separate it to have its own big thing on purpose and not have it overshadow these other games. And if you want to take more time to showcase one game, that means that game's probably coming out sooner than the other games. So it depends on when this Starfield deep dive is scheduled for.
Yes.
And I think we're going to find that out soon.
I think Pog knows what I'm going to say.
Yes.
Is that I've been very much of the opinion for a long time that the earliest Starfield is going to release is June.
Correct.
You could be right.
I also could see the possibility of it launching later in the second half of the year. I think that is a possibility. Like that's not like something where it's like, no, this could never happen, because never say never, ladies and gentlemen. You never know. I remember my buddy Jez Corden, my co-host of Xbox 2. Rand, Starfield is 100% locked in for 11/11/2022.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite is locked in for they wouldn't delay it. Things happen, man.
I've even heard Jez saying his pessimistic view right now is about the second half of the year. Also,
well, he's always been second half of the year, but he's of the opinion that you need to delay the game as far as possible to make sure the game is as perfect as it can be.
Yeah.
Because
I just don't ever. I agree with it. I agree with that philosophy, but I don't think Starfield, like other Bethesda game studio games, will ever launch at a point where people are going to be not pointing out the bug.
I think his more thing is I think his reviewers are kind of over giving Bethesda the benefit of the doubt, especially after Fallout 76, where Bethesda's owned by Xbox, and there's going to be the extra eyes on it, being like, okay, show me what you got, right?
Well, maybe that's why it was delayed. And even if it was delayed to let's say April, May, that's still an extra. April was 5 more months of time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, it is. I mean, in a perfect world, Starfield would launch in April. Minecraft Legends would launch in March.
For March also. Right?
Redfall would be May, and Forza would be June. Right?
Yep.
That would be the perfect lineup, and then you can then look at E3 and be like, okay, what do you got for me for the foreseeable future? What's second half of the year? Are we getting Hellblade? Are we getting Hi-Fi Rush? Are we getting
you clear the deck, right?
Wandering Tower? What's early 2024? Show me Avowed. Show me Perfect Dark. Like, yeah, that would be like the perfect rollout, the perfect thing to happen.
That's what I'm hoping for. But we'll see.
And it's like, but the speculation, it's up there because let's say we heard about the Dev Direct all the way back, like literally the day the Game Awards happened. As soon as it was over, I started hearing from people, hearing about an Xbox show in January. And I'm like, oh, for real? Yeah. Someone else hits me up. Rand, I'm hearing about an Xbox show in late January. I'm like, okay. And then, it's like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, why weren't you at the Game Awards, right? People were like, was it because of the ABK thing? Or was it because they were planning their own thing? Whatever, right? And then you get into this month, and about, I would say, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, it was like, it's coming to the end of the month, right? Like and then it was like Starfield wasn't going to be there, and it's like, okay.
You think that's where a lot of this pessimism about Starfield's coming from, as far as the release date, is just the fact that it's not part of the developer direct? Or?
Well, I mean, because some people, I think the pessimism stems from, like, some people look at it like, if it's not a part of this Dev Direct, would you have these games that are probably launching April, May, June? Like, when's Starfield going to come, right? And I get your thing about like, oh, maybe the Dev Direct's in February and it can come out in March, or maybe the Dev Direct's in March and it can come out in April, or what have you. There's just not enough information to really say either way, because them saying one's in the works. Well, like E3's was the next E3's planned as soon as last E3 is over, but like you still have a year. So like them saying we're planning one doesn't necessarily mean like saying one's coming within 2 months. Yeah. It all depends on.
I could be reading too much into that. I just feel like they wouldn't have put it out there unless it was relatively soon.
Well, they had to put it out there. They absolutely had to put it out there, because imagine they announced, like, we got a developer Direct coming, and then you go to watch that developer Direct and there's no Starfield.
No, right.
People would have lost their minds.
But they could have said later. Rand.
Sure, but I mean, they had to set expectations, and Aaron Greenberg's done a good job of that, of setting people's expectations for the show.
Right.
And the Starfield, it's just good. This whole Starfield conversation is just going to continue like this until they have the showcase. Right. Whenever they announce the showcase, whenever that showcase is, and whenever they announce the release date for the game.
So what do you make of the German Instagram account for Bethesda?
I would say usually this is what Jez would say to me, is that, don't really trust official accounts from other countries.
Okay. Because like it's some intern probably running a social media account or something like that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of what he would say to me. I'd be like, what do you think? We have official German Bethesda account saying it's coming really soon. He'd be like, is it coming from the official US Bethesda one? I'd be like, no. He's like, well then,
okay,
doesn't mean anything.
Rand, if we do get an announcement, let's say we do, and it is for February, will you be on more on board with
if they have the show in February? I'd be like, well, that game better be coming out really soon, because there'd be no reason to have a show in February if it's coming out in June.
Right.
So if they're having a show next month, then I'd be like, okay, March seems like the ideal candidate. But either way, I want to play Starfield.
Yeah. I think we
Yeah,
all
wait.
do. And
You know?
do you think Xbox is conscious of the fact that they do have to hit that 12 months, or are you on the side that sure they understand that it's going to look bad optically and they're going to take heat for it no matter what, but to them it's not going to matter. They would still push it.
I think to them, they'll give the game as much time as it needs,
Okay.
regardless of the PR backlash that they would get, because delaying it the first time was rough. Everybody freaked out.
Pong
right?
had a whole sermon on our show.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Delaying it a second time.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, is it really a second time? But people only view it as a second time because Xbox said all the games would come in the next 12 months.
Right.
Correct.
Otherwise, this is why like a lot of people are like, I didn't like the 12-month format because it sort of took away some of the joy of seeing announcements further out that you normally would do, but now you can't. But then also like you mentioned, you pigeonhole yourself into this thing where it's like, granted, it's not a binding contract, right? Like they didn't write a binding contract in blood or whatever. It's just like, hey, these games are coming the next 12 months. And Xbox, I think, does have a lot to prove to people after what happened last year. And they need to show people like, that was a fluke. Here are the games. Not only are the games going to be more consistent, but they're going to be of the most important, like high quality, right? Because none of this really matters if the games are bad, because then who cares, right? The games are bad. The games are bad. Like, it only matters if they're really good. So no, I think they'd be like, we'll take the PR hit because once the game comes out, people won't care that we delayed it if it's good. People will really care if it's bad and they delayed it.
That's my point, Rand, is that the bugs are going to be picked apart no matter what, no matter how long. And so they're going to get it. They're going to get it.
So just release it.
Release it.
Just release it. Yeah.
Release it. It's Bethesda already. Everybody already has the nickname. Everybody already knows what to expect.
I mean, it really Skyrim still has bugs in it. So like a lot of bugs. Like if 3 years from now, it'll still have bugs in it. And that's the thing, is like, what does like a few more months do for a game like Starfield with that? I get like they're in heavy dev mode here, and then later there'll be a smaller team on it, but still, I think if it's in a good shape, you know what I mean? I think it's good to go for the first half. Now I say March because of the number thing with Todd, plus also, just I feel like it would be the best option if all things were equal, right? If all things are considered, I think leading that, and then you hit like one of them in April, May, and then the other one in June or something, or just spread them out by like 3 or 4 weeks apart, or at least, you know what I mean, or maybe more, and hit them all within that deadline, and then have that E3 showcase where you blow the socks off of what's coming in the future for Xbox in the second half of the year, with maybe a big surprise for a big first party game later this year too. I feel like that, and then combined with the potential closing the ABK deal later this year, right, would just be like the most insane year Xbox could possibly ever have.
It'd be the most impactful, is what it would wind up being.
Now, if Starfield even gets pushed back, it still will have that effect, right? Especially if all these other things happen. It's not like the end of the world. It's not like a doomsday scenario. You know what I mean? But I kind of, in my mind, what I want is for Starfield to be the launch of the new era of Xbox, right? Mm-hmm. Starfield to be up there with one of the new faces of the Xbox brand, right? Like, and this is the biggest release since the ZeniMax Bethesda acquisition, which really kind of catapulted this new direction for Xbox, even more than their other acquisitions, right? Because this was like, whoa, they got a whole publisher. They got all these, right? Like, wow, we were already excited about Obsidian and some of these other studios, but you're talking about ZeniMax Bethesda, you're talking about Fallout, you're talking about Elder Scrolls, and now their next big new IPs, Starfield. For me, like, just selfishly, I want the biggest impact, and launching Starfield first, especially if it hits and makes that statement, it could be like another moment for Xbox of like what Halo CE was originally for Xbox. They need this like big comeback story still. You know what I mean? They're doing well, but this would set them up for like, this is what we can do on Xbox. This is what to look forward to. And then you follow it up with Redfall, which is a much bigger, better game than many people anticipated. And you follow it up with, we know what's going to be the best racing game in Forza Motorsport. You know, you also have the variety of Minecraft Legends adding that game for people. Then you have RTS games hitting in Game Pass, and you have these third-party deals hitting in Game Pass. You have games like Stalker 2 hitting later this year. Atomic Heart like hitting as well. You're just setting up like this is why you need to subscribe to Game Pass. Now, I'm thinking as if all things were equal, that would make the best impact for Xbox. So we'll see, man. But will it overall be a huge deal either way? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. While we're here, since we started this conversation, Rand, second half. Are you?
Can we get to some super chats real quick?
Oh yeah, we got super chats. Go for it.
Get
them before we switch over here.
Yeah, John TJ hit us with a $2 super chat. Said, "Hi guys, hi John TJ, how are you doing, bro? Thanks for tuning into the show." Also, John TJ, member for 3 months, said, "I got to ask, is Halo screwed?" Stay tuned for the show because we'll be talking a lot about that. That's a big topic for today. Moneybag97 with a $2 super chat said, "Starfield, same day Final Fantasy to crush it." I don't. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. John TJ with the $5 super chat again. Appreciate you. Said, "Do you think the creator of Doom and Certain Affinity should make Halo from now on with 343 as a support studio?"
Oof.
We'll get more into the I said the 343 stuff later with the big topic. So id and Certain Affinity make Halo. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We'll discuss that later, John. Thanks for the
sure.
chats.
Yeah, thanks for everybody for being here to chat. You guys are all amazing. We didn't do the normal shout out tonight because we got Rand on and we want to get the show going, but we appreciate every single one of you again. Over 120 some people in here right now. Hit that like button if you got time. Share it out. Let everybody know that the man with a million is in the house tonight, and we're having a great time tonight.
And we still have an ad read to do too, so we should go ahead and get that out of the way.
You want to get the ad read?
We'll get out of it.
Rand probably could do this one by heart.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in to this episode of PM in the PM, and it's brought to you by Manscaped. Breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using code FUNSPECULATION for 20% off and free shipping. Yeah. Again, guys, you can stop using your ball shaver on your face. There's two now.
I thought you were going to say you could stop using your balls.
Well, no, never. No. Well, I don't want to stop using them. But you could do both at once. You get both. You shave one and then you shave the other up top at the same time.
This is why we need Rand and Jez on camera.
And you can even, but they vibrate too. Yeah, you can get them both going at the same time if you're able to do two things at once. Yeah, so it's a cool thing though, beard stuff, so get 20% off again and free shipping with code FUNSPECULATION at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code FUNSPECULATION. The Beard Hedger, 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 lengths. Wow, 20 lengths for a Beard Hedger.
Whew. Go do it, everybody. Go do it. Code FUNSPECULATION. Get that done. Helps the channel immensely. So again, great products. Again, we all got them. We all use them. And they're fantastic. High quality stuff. So make sure you do check them out. They are worth it for sure. Treat your body well, everybody. That's all I got to say. So Rand, as I was saying, let's hop into this a little bit. Let's say that they do get everything out in the first half and they've cleared the deck. They've got everything wide open from July forward, right? And we just had a huge first half of the month. What do you think they've got for the second half, if anything? Are you on board with the Hellblade 2 smoke?
I mean, I would want to be on board. It's my most anticipated game from Microsoft themselves.
Right.
So they're be like, give me Hellblade 2, So the problem is, don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know when any of the Xbox games are currently slated to release. We don't know what anything after June looks like. So you could have a bunch of different scenarios, Pong. One being they don't have anything else for for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Right.
Which after 2022, could be possible. Could be
Mhm.
entirely possible. Second scenario is like maybe they have a couple smaller games, Project Belfry, Stoic. They working on something that could potentially release. Jeff Grubbs talked about, potentially Hi-Fi Rush being at the developer direct.
Tango.
And then the rumors even surrounding that game were that it was planned for launching this fall.
Yep.
A possibility.
Yep.
Then you could have like, oh, maybe it's those games and a bigger game, like a big AAA game. Maybe it's Hellblade 2. It is the first game they announced for the next generation all the way back in 2019. I know people reported that the motion capture was done, but I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but if it was, maybe that does line up with Hellblade launching. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple different scenarios that could happen. How Microsoft might even own Activision by then.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is supposed to be a new Call of Duty-ish expansion or whatever at the end of the year.
Right.
Don't know what will go on with that, but yeah, there's a few scenarios that I can think of. But I do think like something like Avowed is more early next year, especially depending on when, Starfield kind of releases. I don't know if they want those games anywhere close to one another. Yeah, so I'd be just as interested as you and Mav and everybody in chat to find out. And, that's why E3 this year is going to be really important, because everything that they talked about last year was supposed to be out, or at least close to being out, right? If a couple games got pushed. So that means your E3 this year is going to have to be like all brand new stuff, brand new indies, brand new first party games, gameplay from stuff like, we haven't seen Avowed in 3 years, or would be 3 years in June. What's going on? When can we expect that project? Perfect Dark, 3 years.
Fable,
State of Decay 3 years, right?
Do you think we see either In Exile or Compulsion's game this year?
I mean, that's certainly possible. I mean, Compulsion, I don't know if we'd see it this year, but Compulsion games could easily be revealed.
Revealed. That's what I meant. Revealed.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's just like there's, we didn't expect because I think we didn't expect last year to end up the way it did, where they were like, oh, we're just showing things 12 months. And we were like, really? All right, whatever. And then there's like a divide in the community where I feel like some of them are like, yeah, stick to the 12-month thing. And other people are like, get rid of it.
Yeah. I don't like it.
I don't like it, right? I don't know. Where do you fall? Pong, are you like it? You want to get rid of it?
I like it if they're going to do these directs. And if they use the other shows, if they go back to the Game Awards and give us a glimpse at the future there, if they use, Gamescom to give us a glimpse, if they use these directs and they start kind of a pattern with these directs where they do give us one more thing, whether it's small or big, but they can use that down the road to do something where all of a sudden it's like, oh, first glimpse at In Exile's game or whatever the case may be. I think it could work. I personally like the 12 months. Again, if it was up to me, Rand, my heart of hearts, I'm that kid who used to go hunt down my Christmas presents. Okay. I like to know everything. If I was Phil, I'd give you the entire roadmap. Okay. I would say, here's what our roadmap looks like in pencil right now through 2028. Okay. I would give you it all. So I personally, sure, if they decide to go away from the 12 months, I'll be happy if they start, teasing the future and selling us hopes and dreams. I like that as well. But if they're going to stick to this format, I don't have a problem with it with these dev directs in between, along with going back to the bigger shows throughout the year and using those to give us some teases or to, reveal some games, especially like the Game Awards. I mean, again, we know how big it was up until last year for Xbox. I think they could go back to that easily and use that as another place to do a big reveal or two. I think it would be fantastic to end the year that way. So I could see it going both ways, but personally, I don't have a problem with the 12 months. So I know Mav hates it.
Well, I here's the thing. I think the primary focus on the show should be what's coming up soon, but I don't like putting yourself in handcuffs, right? And I think that they could do that still and reveal 2 games or so that are coming out way later, right? But the thing that they got them into trouble is they announced these games like 2.5 years ago, which will be 3 years ago in June, like Rain said. And you don't talk about them at all,
right,
for 3 years.
Correct.
Right.
And we've talked
So
about how much I don't like
that's
that.
a problem. That's a problem. So
Yes.
if either way, no matter what you do, you gotta at least keep people up to date somewhat on what's going on with the game. If you announce it that early, if not, then don't announce them. Right. So
Right.
if they at that point, if we get to the point where they're announcing new games within 12 months, right, big games, I'm 100% on board with that. Because if it's at a steady pace and it happens every year, then it's like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Brand new games announced coming out later this year or within the next 12 months. I can get behind that, but I feel like delays always happen too, and there's always like, I don't know. It's just I don't like pigeonholing yourself in. Now, if they do that and they stick to the every 12-month thing, and the developer direct only focuses on the games coming out within the next few months, are we ever going to get announcements of games like far off again? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't like that either. I like to have something to be excited about for a long time. That's a big game, like a Fable, like a Perfect Dark, or whatever, you know. But I wish they would keep us more up to date with those. The question I have is, at some point, will they do developer direct type things on games that are further away? And I would like to see that as well. You don't have to have everything like deep dive on super intense things that are like close to release. You just like talk about your vision for the game and stuff like that. I would love to see some of these developers be a little bit more transparent.
Yeah,
But
that's been a big topic. Rand, speaking of, that's kind of a topic, you know, with the leaks and devs being so upset, and obviously Jez getting in trouble with developers over leaks, and you know, plenty of people out there that do it. But a lot of it goes back to what, at least for me personally, and Mav and I've had this discussion, we've had this discussion on multiple shows, is that the secrecy of this industry is ridiculous. Like it's so bad. Like I understand you can't show everything all the time. I get that fact. But for you, Rand, if they announce a game like Mav was saying, and they sell us on hopes and dreams, and they announce a game, let's say this E3, they do show us something that's 3-4 years off. Do you mind waiting to see, not having any word on it outside of reports and smoke and leaks up until closer to maybe a year away when they come back to it and finally, you know, show it off? Or would you like to see more updates in between from the devs themselves as well?
I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind if it was like one game. I think the problem where Xbox ran into it was like all their games.
it was our entire show.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
all of them. It was just like, which is sort of what we asked for.
Hmm?
Because before that show, we were like, just show us what doesn't matter. Just show us the roadmap. We
Yeah.
don't even care how things. And then they showed us the roadmap with all CGI
Yeah, but
trailers
I
with
don't
no
know-
dates.
Here's the thing, though. I feel
know?
like if we knew that they weren't going to tell us anything about any of those games for 3 years, we might have had a different tune.
Maybe,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Hindsight's always 2020. You know, but they needed to show something in 2020, and those were
Yes.
the games that they wanted to talk about. And it is frustrating to a certain extent, being like, what is Avowed?
Right.
Right? Because they don't really talk about it. We haven't seen anything outside of just the trailer, or even like Perfect Dark or Fable, like,
Yeah.
you know. And then you just get rumors like last month, oh, Fable
Engine
restarting
trouble.
development, and everybody runs with it.
UE5.
Everybody runs with it because people love negative Xbox news, and we don't know anything about Fable, so it kind of works hand in hand, right?
Yep.
So I'm not against like you have one game that you want to announce 3 years and you know out or whatever, but as long as you have the other games that are coming closer, I think it'll be fine. It's just that like right now everyone's just like, well, what about Hellblade? What about Avowed? What about Perfect Dark? What about State of Decay? What about Everwild? What about this? And what about this? And what about that? And what about that? It's like, you know, it just kind of just builds this cascade. And it's like, yeah, because even now you asked me like, hey, can Hellblade 2 come out this year?
Right.
I don't know. I have no idea. I have
Right.
no clue. You know,
Right.
who knows? You know, like it just, you know, because they haven't really talked about it. You know, we saw the 2 trailers or whatever, but it's like, you know, and
that's the frustrating part. Yes.
yeah, that is the frustrating part.
Yep.
And you know, you get to June, and they're gonna have a show, and then I'm kind of with Mav. I I don't necessarily know if I like the 12-month thing because you're still setting expectations that everything is going to come out in the next year. When game development is very fluid, things happen, things need to get pushed. And that's just, to me, that's just Xbox setting themselves up for more continuous disappointment if they can't hit what they're saying they're hitting. And let's be honest, like go back to Starfield for just this discussion right here.
Mm-hmm.
How many people, hypothetically, let's just say, hypothetically,
yeah,
February goes by, there's no Starfield showcase.
Right.
Yep. We're getting the middle of March. Pretty apparent there's no showcase in March and the game's not coming.
Yeah.
April rolls around, you wake up, Pong. You're just like, roll out of bed. Let me eat my granola bar for breakfast. You look at your phone. You're like, man, my Twitter's blowing up. What's going on? You open up that phone, and there you see it, Bethesda.
Right.
Hey guys, just want to let you know we needed to give Starfield some extra time, and with that in mind, we need to announce that Starfield will no longer be releasing in the first half of the year, but now we'll be releasing on October 25th, 2023, right?
Right.
How many people would be pissed off?
Oh, yeah.
Probably a lot, you included. But you would be pissed off because Xbox set the expectation up that it would come in the first half of the year.
Yes.
If they never did that, you would just be waiting for them to announce the release at any point in time. And October wouldn't be that big of a stretch to expect because, hey, game gets delayed. Game should come out when it's ready. And here it is. Here's when it's ready. It's October, right? But because of the expectations put on, because Xbox wanted a PR win, like everything's great. Everything's coming the next year. And game development can be this thing where stuff happens and things don't necessarily go right. Now you're just going to get people upset because you wanted an easy victory. So, it's just one of those things where I feel like they should avoid that. Maybe if you want to keep it to a time frame, instead of 12 months, 18 months. Everything you see here will be out by the end of next year, which gives you a lot more wiggle room to work with.
Yeah.
But preferably, I would just
That's interesting that they didn't even just go with that anywhere. They could by the end of the next year. I mean, that would have made more sense, because that would have even given them another potential big game that could have been included in there.
Yeah. Well, then what people would have said.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what do you mean? Wait a minute. Yeah. Everything here is coming out by the end of next year, but Hellblade's not here. Does that mean Hellblade's not coming by the end of next year?
Right.
I already know how people will react.
Oh, yeah.
So to me, it's kind of one of those things where I think you did it once because you delayed all your games. So it was like you had nothing else and you wanted some way to spin it where it was like, all right, yeah, everything in the next year. It sounds great. But I think moving forward, I don't think you want to pigeonhole yourself into that. And you just do the shows and you just show things with, don't say it's coming by a certain time is my thing.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, Rand. I guess for me, it's a little bit of a fantasy or a wish that Microsoft does get to the point where, outside of a pandemic and, the developers have all talked about it. Sure, there's still a lot of people working from home, but they've gotten through all of this and they're kind of past all of that as far as the development cycle goes. I wish in a lot of ways that Microsoft could get to that point with their studios that doing that 12 months, they could lock it in within those 12 months and still get it done, right? And that they could get on that kind of cadence where they could look at their studios and be like, nope, we're going to hit this no matter what within the next 12 months. Even if we have a small delay, we're still going to be able to hit it within that 12 months. And maybe that's just hoping for too much. Maybe that's hoping for too much consistency in a very inconsistent industry, right? Maybe that's a me thing. I just like the commitment. I like the confidence that it shows when they do come out with that 12-month announcement. And yes, it comes with caveats, right? It comes with a lot of pitfalls. If you do have something come up and you can't do it, there's a lot of reasons to say, no, it's not a good thing to do that to yourself. And I agree. Again, nobody forced them into making this statement. They did it on their own. But I wish they could get to that point where they could say, nope, we're locked in. These games for sure. We're going to hit the 12 months. I think that just shows a lot of confidence. And I like knowing that roadmap that in the next 12 months, I'm playing these games. I really just like that. But again, maybe you're more right, maybe Mav's more right.
You could
can't
just
ever expect that.
You could just use the directs. Like, you don't necessarily have to give a time frame outside of like, okay, come in 2024. And then when you do the directs, you could be like, oh, these are the coming in the next few months, and then here's the release dates and stuff.
Lock it in then.
Yeah. Assuming we don't know how the directs are going to be like in the future, when there's going to be scheduled, right? All we know is we got this one. We have a Starfield one coming eventually. Mav says February, which, cross my fingers, I hope it is.
Yeah, or even if that Starfield showcase is early March, that would still potentially be on board for 2030.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, the earlier the better. Crossing my fingers, right? Because that would point to an earlier release. And then who knows about the end of the year? Do they also do a developer direct? Like, let's say for instance, Hellblade 2, Wandering Tower, and Hi-Fi Rush are all ready. Do you do another developer direct sometime at the end of the year?
Yeah.
To talk about those games, but then it's like, okay, well, then we do another developer direct at the beginning of next year to talk about the games coming. Like, you could sort of do that, and there'd be no reason necessarily be like E3 is strictly just 1 year. Just be like, here's some games, and then developer directs would be like, here's our games coming in the next 4 months or whatever, and do a more deep dive. And if they're bigger games, like, I think Hellblade 2 deserves its own direct. I think Redfall deserves its own one. But it seems like this one might be more like they're going to do it here. If they're going to give it 10 or 15 minutes or whatever. I'm really excited to see what this developer direct is.
So am I.
How it's being positioned, how it's actually going to come across. I'm excited about no hosts, because that was one of the things I have been talking about. Be like, no hosts, please.
Yes.
Let the
devs talk about their stuff.
Let's see how this comes across, and with the release dates. I think Jazz was saying Minecraft Legends March, Forza June, and like Redfall May.
Right.
So at least that was his expectations, which that'd be fine, right? That'd be fine. So but for a lot of people, it's about that Starfield. Some people think they're going to end the showcase with the Starfield direct announcement.
Yes,
which
I said that.
That would be a big deal.
If it's soon, then maybe that is the thing to do.
Tease. It would be great tease.
Yeah,
that's why I feel like that's one of the reasons they may have included it in their announcement here. Like, I feel like people are going to be waiting. I get that. I do. I get that. They had to acknowledge
you could avoid it.
They had to acknowledge why Starfield's not there. right. They had to acknowledge that. I completely understand.
Could you imagine this show? Could you imagine this show? They said nothing about it, and you were expecting it to be there, and then it wasn't there. Pong would be furious.
I would be.
I feel like that's how that was like the Game Awards for me. I was watching, just waiting for something from Xbox the entire time.
But even though you had heard that Jez said they weren't going to be there, you had that in the back of your mind, or at least you should have. I know Pong had it in the back of his mind.
I heard all those rumors, and I was like, this can't be true. And I'm like, come on, like the fucking like Game Awards is going to be the biggest show of the year, like, period, with people watching, the amount of viewers and stuff. And it's like, how can they have all these games launching in the next 6 months or 7 months and not have one big game shown, one trailer, one anything? And I was like, this is just a missed opportunity. Like, I felt like it was, I still feel like it was a missed opportunity, even with this developer direct, which I get why, because they wanted to do this, but like, still, there's going to be a lot more people that watch the Game Awards than are going to watch this developer direct, right? Point blank, period. A lot of people that are Nintendo fans, PlayStation fans, PC only, that don't really care about Xbox. I feel like it's an opportunity to show them what's in the ecosystem of Xbox to potentially get people to want to subscribe to the Game Pass or to get an Xbox or whatever. And if you only focus on the people that are already sold on Xbox, right, and hope it spreads out from there, sometimes it doesn't work as well. Now, it's still going to, we're all going to be talking about it. PlayStation podcast can be talking about it, but I'm talking about the casuals, right? I'm talking about, like, it permeates throughout, beyond, like, our core hardcore community where everybody gets all this information. I'm talking about the people that just tune into it because it's the most popular thing to watch tonight. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh shoot, that looks really cool.
Eventually, I think that's what the Dev Direct can do, right? Just like State of Plays, just like the Nintendo Directs, they draw people outside of the ecosystem to watch those things because they become an event unto themselves. And I think eventually, if they get the format right, if they do it on a regular basis, if this is the new way going forward and we get a couple of these at least a year, everybody will start looking forward to it. And then that will ripple out and more people will come to expect these. And all of a sudden, more people will start showing up, even people not in the ecosystem, just to see what Xbox has got going on. And that's the great part about these smaller shows. But I agree, Mav, wholeheartedly. You know, I agree with the Game Awards thing.
I'm still excited for this though. It doesn't hold anything back for that.
No,
and also,
no,
like,
no.
I feel like the chat's thinking we were being like negative, but for whatever. No, we were just discussing what we wanted to see from Xbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's, you know, a lot of agreement that they haven't always handled things the best, but also regardless of how they market or choose to do these games, at the bottom line, none of that matters as much as releasing the games and them being good, right? And which I'm hoping is the case this year. And should be in line for Redfall within the next few months, Forza within the next few months, Minecraft Legends within the next few months. All these other third-party game deals they got going into Game Pass as well are happening this year. This is bound to be an amazing year for Xbox, absolutely, regardless of anything else, as long as the games are good, which I have all the confidence in the world that they will be for sure.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say, Rand, and I want just if you agree or not, if they are going to push Starfield with the doubling down, with the support page saying it, you know, all that kind of stuff, with all this going on, if they are going to delay it, do you agree with me that they've got to announce that sooner than later? They've got to get it out there and be done with it.
I mean, yeah, there's probably at a certain point they would need to, but I also feel if hypothetically if they was delayed, that when you would announce the delay, you would also give the release date.
Right.
It's like, hey, we're delaying the game, we need extra time, and the new release date is October 25th. They probably would be waiting until they actually knew, or when Bethesda actually knows when they would want to release it. Then it's like, okay, now we need to get this news out there, and we need to take the hit. But you know, maybe whatever. This is just all speculation. It could easily be February for the event, and then Mav could be right. 3/20/23 would be amazing. You know, it'd be good. It would be a great way to start off the year. You know, so we'll see. We'll see how it happens. You know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. And I can't wait to see. Because again, if they can nail it, if they can pull it off, man, no better way to start the new Xbox generation.
Yeah,
this is it, right? So, I think that would be awesome. Great conversation, brothers.
Boy, an hour and a half later, we haven't even
we just rolled right into that.
It's like already. It's like, well, I'm out of time. Later, guys.
We haven't got to talk about the 343 disaster.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. So let's get into it.
Shout out
get
to Splendiferous first with the $2 super chat. I had to get to this one real quick because it said, "Let's go, Cowboy fans." Mav, what up? Playboy, round number 2. Let's go. Yeah. I hope, man, I got to admit, though, I am a little worried about this.
You should be worried.
You should be worried.
The 49ers are no joke. So crossing my fingers, but we'll see what happens.
Playing with Mr. Irrelevant as your starting quarterback. Unbelievable. 49ers. Crazy.
Well, he's fucking relevant now, that's for sure.
He is definitely relevant. Holy cow. What a grab that was. All right, so let's get down to business here. So let's get into it. Normally, Mav and I kick off PM into PM with the negative news of the week so we can get it out of the way, but we started in the fun area. So now we're going to head over into this kind of murky waters here. For everybody who hasn't been paying attention, some big news this week. Microsoft let go 10,000 people. Absolutely awful news. Obviously feel for every single one of those people, their families. Nobody likes to get the news when a company is going to let you go. Microsoft wasn't alone in this. This is hitting the tech industry, especially across the board. Amazon let go of 18,000 people this week. So this is something that obviously, everything that's kind of culminated to this point with the pandemic, with inflation, with bad decisions from Washington, D.C. Eventually all this was going to catch up, I should say. put this in kind of perspective, which a lot of people are missing on Twitter. Because of course you just see the number 10,000, and of course it wasn't all Xbox employees.
Yeah.
We know that it was a lot of divisions. There was a lot of redundancy within Microsoft.
I wonder, like, percentage wise, which divisions got hit the most? Because I have seen it affected Bethesda and 343 primarily out of Xbox,
and there were a little bit of coalition as well.
A little bit of coalition, but like number of employees. For 343 seems pretty dramatic, but
like 130, I think right now is the number.
So
343
overall, as a whole, though, it seems small in numbers compared to the 10,000, right? So it seems like a lot of the other sides of Microsoft may have got hit way worse. Than
like their AR, the
HoloLens,
HoloLens, which lost the government contract. Now they got a new contract, but it's not what it was supposed to be by any stretch of the imagination. That division obviously got hit very hard as well. Lots of things go into this, and to give some context here, because again, this is something that a lot of people were missing since 2019. So 3 years, folks. Microsoft hired 77,000 people. 3 years they hired 77,000 people. Now I know optics wise, it's terrible. They celebrated the year anniversary of announcing the ABK deal,
which will bring in 10,000 employees.
Right, which will bring in 10,000 employees again.
Yeah. But this is all on the gaming side also,
it's
right?
It's coincidental. Okay. But again, not defending big corporations. Big corporations are all about stocks, all about money. They're stockholders. They don't care. Okay. Well, I'm not making any illusions here. Okay. The little people get hit the hardest when this stuff comes around. Okay. It's not the big people at the top. Again, I saw some people ambulance chasing, loving to posting articles about how much the upper management got bonuses at Microsoft and all of that are completely separate issues. If this was a fair and equal world, sure, we'd all love things to be differently. And again, I feel for everybody at the bottom that took the brunt of this. Okay, absolutely 100% across the board at all these companies that this is going on. But really, at the end of the day, Microsoft brought on 77,000 people. So they still have created 67,000 new jobs within the past 3 years. And they're still hiring 20,000 more people. Or something close to that. There's like 20,000 job applications or something ridiculous for Microsoft right now. And Satya came out and said, we're still hiring in key areas, all of that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, let's get to the gaming portion of this. And obviously, like Mav just talked about, 343 was the hardest hit that we know about right now. At first, it was 60 people. Most of them coming from the single player campaign side of things of Halo. Now we got more word today that actually the art department got hit very hard as well. And now we're somewhere up near 130 total for 343, somewhere in that range, I think was the latest number being floated around out there. As Mav said, Bethesda also got nailed. I haven't seen any numbers on Bethesda.
I have no idea.
I don't know where it came from. And then Coalition supposedly had some people let go as well. So let's get to the gaming side of things here. Rand, obviously horrible situation for all these people. And again, it's happening in a lot of places, but unfortunately here it is directly involved with the video game industry and obviously Xbox. So for you, Rand, when you heard about this news, were you expecting 343 to be a hit as hard as it's being reported right now? Or did you think it was going to be a little bit more spread across the board? What did you think when you first heard it?
What when I first heard that Microsoft was laying off 10,000 people?
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think they'd laid off anybody. They would be laying off anybody from Xbox or Bethesda. Like, I didn't think they'd be laying off anybody from their gaming division. I mean, they have so many employees. The way that it was kind of positioned and talked about before we knew the details was that it was like mostly engineering side of stuff. Yeah. It wasn't until the day then, like Jason Schreier reported that 343 and Bethesda were hit. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Man, it's just really awful. I've been laid off in my life. Yep. I know what that's like, where you have a job and all of a sudden like you don't, and then you're wondering like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Granted, I don't have any kids, or I didn't have any significant other or house. I was in my mid-20s at the time, so it wasn't like I was like devastated like I know some people are. But like, I know what it's like to just suddenly get the rug pulled out from underneath you. It's not a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
Especially when Microsoft as a company is valued $1 trillion valuation with hundreds of billions of dollars in the bank. It could easily afford the employees, but because they want to appeal to the Wall Street cats,
Correct.
they want to make their investors, more money. It's like they value that over the people in the company. And you know what? It's like, it sucks because you knew this would come, because everybody was making record profits over the pandemic, and all these companies in the tech industry all hired tons of people to meet it. And then now we're outside the pandemic, and all of a sudden profits and revenue are down, and here come the job cuts. Right? Here comes Meta dropping 12,000 people. Here's Amazon cutting people. Here's Microsoft. It's like tech as a whole is just being like, we overhired and now we need to basically stabilize. But I mean, those are real people with real jobs that are now just like, what do I do? Hopefully they can find other positions elsewhere at other companies.
And I should throw in that Microsoft, for not the contracted, I know there's contracted people who are out without anything, but their full-time employees are getting a big severance package. Not that it makes it any better, but Microsoft is way outside the box with that compared to the other companies who are doing this. They are taking care of their people. Again, still doesn't mean it's not awful, but they are taking care of their people. So I got
but as far as like the gaming side, honestly, if you were going to get rid of people, 343 probably does seem the studio you would target. Mainly because I don't want to mince words here, but I think Halo Infinite's a bomb. I think Halo Infinite missed all of its revenue projections. I think it's as bad as it could get for that studio. And like, usually when you have something that really misses the mark this badly, things change. I mean, we already saw Bonnie and upper leadership get removed, and now you're seeing the cuts. And Pierre, I believe, made a statement about I don't have the statement offhand. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see here. I gotta go through all these DMs and try to find all these.
You looking for the Pete Hines one, or?
I don't think it was the Pete Hines one. Let me see if I can find it, because I did post it. Oh yeah. In an email to staff, 343 Industry Studio head Pierre Hines said the company had, quote, made the difficult decision to restructure elements of our core team, which means some roles are being eliminated. He wrote that the studio will continue supporting Halo Infinite's multiplayer and live service elements. And then Joseph Staten, the creative director and Halo veteran who joined 343 in 2020 to help steer Halo Infinite to the finish line, will depart and rejoin Xbox's broader publishing division. So to me, that read like, we are done with Halo campaign stuff.
Yeah.
Probably one of the reasons Joseph Staten decided to go back, right? They're like, we need to completely refocus of what we do with Halo. We need to make it a moneymaker again. And the thing that's going to make us money is the multiplayer. So it's like, we need to double down on this. People who are in the single player campaign departments, unfortunately, we got to let you go because we're not doing that anymore. And now it's just, this is sort of the price you pay for releasing a game that probably is losing money out the wazoo. Because by all accounts, this was a game that cost a lot of money.
Yeah, didn't they have like a $500 million budget?
I mean, those were the rumored things, but who knows if that was true.
Yeah.
But I mean, they had to rebuild an engine. They had to build an engine. They have all these people. They have all these contractors. It's super expensive. They changed how Halo basically is sold. No longer as a full package product, but the multiplayer split off as a free-to-play thing to compete with basically all the multiplayer games of this generation. And then the campaign sold as a separate thing, put in the Game Pass. So your revenue would be gotten differently, because no more were you expecting revenue from the box sales, but through microtransactions. But if you don't have a player base, you don't have people spending money on microtransactions, you're not making any money. And the game and to keep that studio upkeep was probably a lot. And so it's probably easy to look at that and be like, okay, get rid of some people, unfortunately, to meet cost-cutting measures. And I hate to say it, but single player probably doesn't do it. So that'd be the first thing to go, and you would focus on multiplayer. But also, I mean, it's just also indicative. I'm sure you've seen all the tweets from ex-Halo 343 people, like Patrick Wren, basically coming out and saying like, this is all due to incompetent leadership. And like, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about this is it baffles me, and it's mind-boggling how they screwed up Halo so bad. How do you screw this up that badly where this needs to happen? Right. And like, you know what? I think all management gets to blame here. I'm not talking about just Bonnie and Chris Lee and whoever else. I think Phil and Matt deserve a big portion of the blame. Right. I think they launched it when it wasn't ready, probably to hit deadlines. And it sounds like maybe they should have gotten rid of people at the studios way before, or what they did or didn't do. Sometimes it's not doing anything that's a problem. And then you end up in the situation where it's like, this is the game that made Xbox. And I remember a Phil quote from like 10 years ago or whatever. If we ever lose our way with Halo, we lost our way with Xbox.
Right.
Sounds like you've literally lost your way with Halo. Like it, and it's sad because like when Halo Infinite came out, it was regarded as a goddamn great game. Campaign was solid. Multiplayer, people were raving about it. What happened? It was just people were really upset about the monetization practices and what was going on there, and they just had no content in an era of all these other free-to-play games that are constantly churning out content all the time because they're in a regular cadence and a rhythm, and Halo Infinite isn't. And, here we are a year and a half later, or however long it's been. It's been like a year and a couple months, I guess, right? 2021. Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
I don't think they thought that the game would be maxing out at 5,000 players on Steam in a day. Right? I don't think they thought they'd be the 20th most played game on Xbox. Halo, for Christ's sake. The 20th most played game. I mean, I recall when Major Nelson would post those things, Halo 3 would be at the top. You couldn't unseat it. And here we are. It's like, okay, maybe you could make an argument that Halo's not as popular as it was, and which it certainly isn't.
More competition nowadays, too.
The incredible more competition. It's just it's just sad. Like I feel for all the people that got their lives upended, because I've had that happen to me, not in the game industry, but in construction industry. And then you look at Halo and it's like, man, this stuff could have maybe been avoided if you just had better people in higher positions. If all these ex-employees are blaming the leadership, it makes you wonder what the hell went on, what choices were made or didn't make, and who made those choices. And it's just really a clusterfuck. Yeah. Honestly, I don't really know what else to say. It sounds like I don't even like the future of. I don't even know where they would go from here, because it's going to take so much to rebuild and get back an audience. Right. People feel a certain way about this. And, it's odd because you have some people out there who are like 343 needs to go. Right. And now they're gone, or they're getting significant layoffs. And now those people are crying about it. It's like, well, this is isn't this what you wanted? Didn't you want this to happen?
And there's also some people saying it doesn't matter at all. Right. Which I don't understand that either.
I mean, or even if you recall, Pong, and Mav, like, remember when they announced the delay, and then all of a sudden it was like a few months later, they're like, oh, by the way, Co-op and Forge aren't going to launch with the game when it launches. Yeah. And there was like a split in the community that was like, some people were like, delay it until it's a full, complete product, because that's what's going to be best for the game. Right. And there was another part of the community that was like, no, release it now. I want to play it now. One of those. Release it now.
I was like that.
I wasn't thinking of you, Mav. But there was definitely people that was like, it's selfish. You have to release Halo now. And they released it now. Are you happy with how everything played out, Mav?
No,
is this what you wanted?
not,
is this what you expected?
But I didn't know that they didn't have a plan for live service content. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, the roadmap. You didn't know the roadmap was blank.
I've come out later and said like they should have delayed it, because if they had launched like this past November with the way the state that the game was in at that time, it would have been a completely different story.
Yeah, if you launch with the campaign and co-op, probably more importantly, Forge,
all that
Forge,
live service content, Forge,
yeah, working Forge with it integrated in matchmaking and more maps, and then at least have like a roadmap of things to do coming. Yeah, Halo Infinite's probably received differently, but people were so adamant that they needed it, and it's like, well, got what you wanted. You know, it was one of those monkey paw wishes. Hey, they released it, but look what happened.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, it's an extremely awful look for Microsoft, but especially for Xbox, because it's like, if you screwed up Halo so bad, why should anybody have any faith that you can do anything else right? Right? Like, if you mismanage 343 in the Halo franchise, why should anybody have any faith that you are going to do right by ABK or the Call of Duty franchise or the Diablo franchise or any franchise at all? If you've already sort of screwed up the big one that you've had, right? Like, that's not out of realm of pocket to think about, right? Or for people to be like, yo, can Xbox do this?
One thing I've noticed about Xbox is it seems like a lot of negative news comes out of the studios that they've built from the ground up, especially in the recent years and recent timelines and stuff. And maybe this is why they've went outside and brought in studios that have their own culture, right? And kind of leave them alone. You know what I mean? So,
well, they didn't leave them alone because they fired people from Bethesda Game Studios.
They did.
So,
well, we don't know who it was. I'm sure it was QA
and maybe they are like,
so
you know, maybe that happened within Bethesda. They were trying to like say, okay, we got to do this as well. You know, I don't know. We don't know exactly how it all plays out, right? But here's the thing. Regardless, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, first of all, just give your overall thoughts too while you're here talking about this, as far as the 10,000 layoffs and what it kind of says to you, and then rolling your 343 stuff there. That'll work out.
Obviously, this follows in line. Like I think when some people see this as 10,000 Microsoft employees, they see in their mind 10,000 Xbox employees, right? So
of course,
it's I gotta relate
Game Pass's fault,
right? I gotta relate it towards how it affects gaming, right? Because this is a tech giant thing, right? This is a tech industry thing that's happening right now across multiple things, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks ass for all of the employees that get laid off. It's never a good thing when that happens. So it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. This impacts Xbox as a whole less than most of Microsoft. Right, but it affects 343 a lot. So we look at 343 now. This is why the focus is on 343, because out of all the news that came out about all these layoffs with gaming related information, 343 is the one that I feel like it's like, okay, that's interesting, right? And I think it spells implications for the future of Halo. And there's people saying that it doesn't, because they were finished with the Halo Infinite campaign, so it was mostly the campaign team that got let go. But I feel like originally this was supposed to be a live service 10-year plan type game that was probably going to have campaign content, especially with how Halo Infinite ended, right? So if the other aspect of this, if you're saying you're letting that many people go from the campaign team as well, then it's like, well, when's the next campaign coming out then? Is it... Like, if you're obviously not working on it right now, if you lay off a huge amount of people from that team. So it's already been over a year since Halo Infinite came out. And now we're talking about what's going to happen with the next Halo. I don't know. They used to start a Halo game when they finished a Halo game, right?
Right.
And now we don't know what the future is going to hold for that, because they're laying off a big portion of the campaign staff. So, and not only that, but the person you brought in to get Halo in the right direction is now back and left that position with Joe Staten. So he's back to his old job at Microsoft now with publishing side. So I feel like I'm going to read what we were talking about today, because I mean, there's no better way for me to read exactly what I wrote to you, because we were in our DMs.
Yeah, you laid it out.
And I almost like, I mean, it kind of mirrors what Rand was saying. Yes. But I just said, looks like Halo Infinite was a failure overall to Microsoft, right? Now think about this, right? Out of all the gaming stuff you have out there, to have your biggest layoffs and within the gaming side be at the core team that creates your biggest franchise. That should tell you all you need to know, okay? So it looks like Halo Infinite was a failure overall to Microsoft. Them stating that they will said that they will continue to support the live service elements, but no mention of campaign content.
You said love service, by the way.
I did say love service. My fat thumbs.
I like that one better.
Yeah. They will continue to support the live service elements. This is referring to that statement from Pierre Heinz. I keep saying Pete Hines. Pierre Heinz, or however you say his name. Service elements with no mention of campaign content doesn't exude confidence in a game many of us expected to get future campaign content, right? They are supporting the multiplayer going forward in hopes to get whatever they can out of it, I think. While they search for an answer on the future of Halo. I 100% think that's what they're doing. I think they're searching for an answer right now on what they're going to do in the future for Halo. I think they are at a standstill on what that means, and I feel like they're trying to hope that Pierre Heinz can do for Halo Infinite what he did with for the Master Chief Collection, and hopefully maybe grow it slowly over time with great content and stuff like that to build the free-to-play aspect of Halo Infinite up to be a core game this generation. But there's a lot of games coming out that they're going to have competition against, so they got to do a lot of work. And if it's only as successful player-wise, count-wise, and stuff like that as Master Chief Collection was last generation, I don't feel like that's enough success on a game that's built on monetization, right? Mm-hmm. That Halo Infinite is. So also said if 343 makes a campaign again, they would pretty much have to build a whole new team again for the campaign. Or it may be a really long time before we see one. So they say maybe they look for a new studio to work on it. Mm-hmm. Or put it on the back burner for a long time while they focus on other major franchises. And next time we see it, Halo, maybe it'll be a reboot. So I'm honestly thinking with this, like, the next time we see a Halo Infinite campaign may be a long time from now. And at that point, it might be better off to reboot the franchise.
I don't think we'll ever see another Halo Infinite campaign.
I don't think so either. But I also did say what I want to see for them. Like, here's the thing. They have missed the opportunity. They missed the boat so much with Halo. And it's not just, like you said, Rain, it's not just 343, though, right? It goes into Microsoft as a whole mismanaging the brand, in my opinion. You have one of the biggest brands in gaming, and you relegate it to one team with, like, mismanaging on different things. You've tried your hand at little things here and there, but you never really go full bore into it. I feel like they should put out there to all the studios in Microsoft, right? All game studios, and say, look, we're open to ideas for Halo. If you want to work on one, let me know your ideas that you have. And Halo's universe is so deep. There's so many different things you could do to expand upon it. And people deeply love the lore. They love the different things that you can experience within that Halo universe. That you could spread it out to all these different genres and all these different things. And they just, really big thing they've tried besides the standard Halo games is Halo Wars, right?
Yes.
And that was an RTS on console that they abandoned, which a lot of people love. They could have continued to grow. I kind of feel like they're missing the boat on the grander scale of what Halo could be. And I feel like maybe you get some other studios and teams and see what they want to make, and maybe give somebody else a chance to make some other Halo kind of content while they figure out the mainline franchise and what they're going to do with that. I don't feel like rushing something out for whatever it is going to be the right move. I think they got to figure this out, and I don't know if 343's core campaign team can handle it right now, especially they're only going to be even weaker than they were before, right? So if we, I liked the campaign of Halo Infinite. I thought it was a great game. I thought the multiplayer is really fun. It lacked amount of content for a year, especially compared to other Halo games. I think they were on the right track now. I'm just hoping they don't say Forge is. We're just going to work, depend on the community now to kind of keep this thing afloat. And I don't know. We'll see, man. I just
No,
it's disappointing.
I'm going to go back to something Rand said too, Rand, and I think that it's something that a lot of people avoid talking about. And it's funny, man, that we're at second week in a row with a topic that we weren't allowed or supposed to talk about at all because we know nothing about 343. And this goes back 2 years, but I think Rand did make an important point because you can go back 2 years ago, coming up to the launch of the series consoles, when we were talking about this on Boom Show and talking about the word on the street about the behind the scenes Halo Infinite, obviously after Craig and all that kind of stuff, all the problems that were behind the scenes. And you know, as I one of those shows too, and Rand, I pointed out as well that if Halo Infinite didn't turn out the way it was supposed to, if it was something that, you know, where Halo came out and it didn't live up to the expectations, again, we know the expectations are ridiculous for Halo. That's undeniable. It gets graded like no other game because of the campaign and because of the multiplayer aspects of it, and obviously it being Halo, one of the, you know, pillars of the gaming industry, not just Xbox, but of gaming industry. But I did say then too, as well, like you just did, Rand, that you had to look at Phil, you had to look at Matt Booty, and I said at that time that one of Phil's greatest strengths, and again, he gets all the flowers. So everybody in chat, you already know. Again, he just took home a lifetime award the other night at the New York Game Awards. Congratulations, Phil. We give Phil all the flowers for everything he's done. But one of his greatest strengths, and also one of his greatest weaknesses, is his loyalty to people. And when we started hearing the rumors of the trouble from the upper management side of things at Halo, especially, and all the indecisions early on in the development of Halo Infinite, and again, there's reports out there at one point there was crafting in this game, for God's sakes, in a Halo game. Like, they didn't seem to ever have a clear vision. I think this has got to be a giant learning moment for Phil. And I think that obviously Bonnie leaving, and again, I love Bonnie, her history, nothing but respect for what she did within Xbox all those years. Again, there's no taking any of that away from her, but her leaving was kind of the final, you know, nail in the coffin when it came to this situation, that they finally had looked in the mirror and said, listen, something's wrong here. And it's been wrong for a very long time. And now we're paying the price for a lot of different decisions or bad mismanagement or lack of vision or whatever it came down to, that started long ago when they first started looking at Halo Infinite. And I think that this has got to be a giant learning moment. And I think that, to both of your points about where do we go in the future, and Rand, I want to come back to you on this. And I know you said you really don't know, but if you just had the keys to the shop, I do kind of want to get, you know, your perspective on things, what you would do personally if you had the keys to the shop. But I think that if there's any moment right now, Mav, like you were saying, rebooting Halo, moving away potentially from Master Chief, as hard as that seems to be, this is it right here. If you're going, and again, we don't know what they're going to do. We don't know what the future plans are going to be. They're going to obviously continue the multiplayer, but we don't know if the 10-year plan has now been thrown out. We got to assume it has been at some point.
I think for the multiplayer side, they're going to probably give support service for that for 10 years, and all the other plans are out the window. And
but I think if there's any moment that you could do this, this is the time. But now you have to have the right management team in place. You're going to have somebody with clear vision as to where they're going to take Halo. Obviously, Joseph Staten moving back to the publishing side says that, you know, maybe it's not going to be his vision. So you got to have somebody else's vision. Maybe the fresh vision is exactly what you need in this industry. But you got to rebuild 343, or you got to find a new studio where there's a certain affinity or somebody else outside, like you were saying, Mav, to come in to take over. But this is when it starts. And you really do have kind of a, you know, a clear board right now, whiteboard, that you can draw whatever you want to and move Halo in a brand new direction. So I want to get back to you here, Rand. If you had the keys to the castle, the Halo castle, and you were kind of looking at the situation as it is, what would you do? Where would you take Halo, or would you not take it anywhere? Would you put it on permanent back order? What would you do?
I don't know, man. That's an interesting question. Very interesting because there's many ways you could go with it. Does Halo even matter in 2023? That's the one thing that you need to sort of sit down and actually figure out. Does Halo matter now? And if you think it does, okay, well then let's get some incredible people at a studio. Let's see what they want to do with Halo and support them in all the ways possible to essentially make the best Halo game, the best multiplayer that they can do. If you don't think it matters, at least to the degree that, you know, like it used to, then maybe you start winding it down, or you kind of you have 343 sort of slim itself down to a number more befitting a franchise that isn't huge anymore. And maybe you start taking different pitches from other developers who want to work on Halo, who would be excited to work on Halo because they think maybe that would be their like kind of like, oh man, if we did Halo right, this would really catapult us. I'm not really sure what I would do because there's just too many unknown variables. Like how much does it cost to run for 343? How long do I have to wait to see any sort of what's the word I'm looking for here? Like any results from them? I don't know. I don't envy the people in those positions, and they're in those positions because they're incredibly smart and they get paid that much. I don't know what I would do, but clearly it looks like the people in charge now are like, campaign's done. At least reading in between the lines. Right. We need to focus on profitability and making money. So we're gonna focus on multiplayer.
Yep.
Okay, fine. That's a valid way to do it, but it's like, okay, you also said Halo Infinite was 10-year project. Is it no longer a 10-year project?
Correct.
Are we basically like going to keep a skeleton crew on Infinite, hire out some third parties to support it while you build Halo Infinite 2 and we're going to start over? Are you essentially going to become like World's Edge, the caretakers of the Age franchise, and basically accept pitches from third-party developers to make many different types of Halo games? And that's maybe a way that we can, to utilize the IP instead of just focusing on this. There's a lot of different scenarios you could do. I don't know which one's the right one.
Yeah,
because I just don't have all the information.
Oh, nobody does. It's speculation.
But it's speculation. But it's just it's just really disappointing.
Yeah.
To see like this is where we're at with Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's come down to this where there's this uncertainty and the idea of campaign being completely cut from future things, at least for Infinite, when that was like one of the things people were, oh, imagine more content or whatever. It just is like, yo, this is the granddaddy. I mean, Minecraft's the granddaddy, but like this is the game. And like, how did you allow it?
Yeah.
As the caretakers of the franchise, how did you allow it to be in this precarious situation where you have layoffs at a company and it seems like the one company you targeted was the ones who were working on your franchise, your biggest franchise.
Right.
It just, I don't know. I'm like, it's still, I can't wrap my mind fully around that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's almost like if this was another company, if this was Nintendo, it'd be like Nintendo somehow screwing up Zelda or screwing up Mario to the point where like they have to lay off the people at whoever studio makes the Mario games and then hire out third parties to make Mario. Like, it's just like that would never happen, but it happened on this one. And you're right. Maybe it's Phil's insistence of sticking with people who've been loyal to him, sticking with Bonnie too long, sticking with other people underneath them. I don't know what happened to the development of Halo Infinite, but it sounds like from all the devs that talked about it, it was awful. I know people who worked at 343 on this, and as soon as they left the industry over it. Oof. They left the industry because the development of 343 Infinite was just so awful. They're like, I don't want to work in the video game industry anymore. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
Right?
That says something.
And it's just, I don't know. I honestly, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what you do. I honestly don't know.
I do like the idea, Mav, and I want you to touch on it a little bit too, if you had the keys to the castle as well. But going forward, just if you could do it, because you are hardcore Halo as they come. Whereas I have no horse in this race outside of Halo Wars 3. But I still, as somebody in the chat said, I forgot who it was, sorry, but somebody said in the chat, I don't want to see a world that doesn't have Halo in it.
Yeah.
I get that sentiment because, again, like I said, even as a really casual Halo fan, it's still a pillar of this industry, and I don't want to see it die. And as you just said, Rand, it is like Nintendo losing Mario, like losing the way with Mario or Zelda, right? It is that big of a deal that I can't see it. Like, I don't understand. There's got to be a way forward, but I do like the idea of maybe opening up the IP, allowing people to create different stories with the Halo universe in different forms, different genres. Heck, a Halo RPG, for Christ's sake. Who knows? Just do something with it, and maybe something catches fire, because I do believe Halo as an IP still has a ton of value. It still has a ridiculous amount of recognition out there. And I think that if somebody could capture some magic in a different way, that you could find a spark that maybe starts to ignite a little fire again around Halo outside of the multiplayer, which is obviously going to continue. So Mav, if you had the keys to the castle, where would you take this? Any ideas? And obviously Rand, said some things in there about what he would do, even unsure, but where would you take it, brother?
It's tough because, Halo is Halo. I mean, I don't know how to say that. I have a deep love for the franchise. It's my favorite gaming franchise ever, period, point blank. I like Halo Infinite. I feel like they screwed up a lot of stuff with the launch, not with necessarily the launch itself, but the year following the launch, right? And that was because of poor management and planning and all that stuff. Now it's in a good place now. I really think that. But now you have this because the game wasn't as successful as it could have been, right? Because of that, all those things. You know what I mean? And while I think that Halo Infinite is not dead or going to die, I think it could still live on and have a great life, and it could have times when it explodes because people are really excited about new content and maps that hit later on, and then it'll go through its ups and downs. I think it's going to live a good life this generation. I really do. Will it ever be what it could have been? Maybe not. I don't know. But what I got to think about is Beyond Infinite now, right? Where that wasn't really on my mind too much before. But when Pierre Heinz comes out and says that they're just focusing on multiplayer and live service content, that tells me that's where my mind's got to be, because I love Halo Infinite campaigns. And if 343 is not making it anytime soon, then I got to look at, well, who potentially could make the next Halo campaign. So I look at two things. Again, like, I feel like at this point, they need to find the true steward for the Halo franchise, right? They got to find the right people to hold the keys to the castle, right?
Right.
343, let them manage the multiplayer content with support from Certain Affinity. They do a great job with that, if that's all they focus on with gameplay wise, right? They nailed it. Like when we played Halo Infinite multiplayer for the first time, it was like, holy shit, how does this feel so new and so classic all at the same time? They absolutely nailed it. But they lacked the amount of maps and stuff. It's like, how can it take this long to get maps out? Like, it just didn't make any damn sense, right? But it's because we figured out they were working on trying to get Forge done. They're working on trying to get the co-op done, all these other things, right? So it kept them from living up to the amount of content it takes to run a live service game. Now they're going to maybe be in that place, right, where they can focus purely on that. And I really believe that they will be in March, launching with the next season if it meets its deadline, And then from there, I think we're in a good place with the multiplayer, right? Especially with Forge now, how amazing that is. But I really love the story of Halo, the universe of Halo, the lore of it, the enemies, the banter, the music. I mean, just everything has this feel that made me fall in love with it in the first place, right? So what I do is, again, I put out there for ideas to expand the universe, right? Because Halo can be bigger than just its mainline. You can Star Wars this sucker, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like as Star Wars does with their games, right? They have everybody make these games, and they have all these different genres and all these different things, all these different ideas. You know, Halo could be that big. But if you only stick to the main line where some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it, kind of like Star Wars movies, right? Like what they've done with that, the Skywalker saga, you know, then it's not going to necessarily help everything. But if you do The Mandalorian, if you do like all these other things, you know, all these other spin-off things, you're going to find fans in different places you've never had them before, right? Or you're going to bring back fans that may have lost as well, that love this direction of this new thing. So I feel like what you don't do is you don't go take one of your first party teams that you acquired,
right,
and force them to make a Halo game.
Correct.
Right? You don't do that. Point blank, period. That's not the way to go. What you do go is again say, hey, Halo IP is open for ideas. Anybody wants to work on a Halo game, we're open to ideas for different genres, different things. I want your ideas. If you want one, we're ready to kickstart a project, right? And if somebody comes up with something compelling, maybe 2 or 3 things from different studios, they come up with something compelling, you're like, that sounds awesome. Let's do it. Because at that point, you have a creative vision by the studio that wants to make something, right?
Right.
Not some monetization idea that you had as a grand scheme to force upon a studio, like a Square Enix fiasco or something like that, or a Ubisoft fiasco. You have to have the passion behind it from the start. That's what created Halo in the first place. That's what creates games like Elder Scrolls and Starfield and all these things. You have the passionate creator behind the vision, right? Halo was already created, so you got to have somebody deeply in love with the Halo franchise behind a studio that wants to do the next big thing with Halo. And you can do that with different genres and different things. And while these other games, while you're expanding the universe, you take your time, right? You take your time. You find the right team, the passionate team that has their own good culture, that wants to be the stewards of the mainline Halo series going forward. And I think with that, you give it to them, give them the keys to the castle, but in their vision. I think, and it's sad for me to say, but I think the classic feeling we all know and have loved for Halo, right, going forward in a next mainline Halo campaign game, this might have been the last. Right? I feel like whatever comes next might be a whole re-envisioning in the future. Doesn't mean it couldn't be awesome, because you got to grab a whole new age of fans. You got in a different world now. You know, we're over 20 years past when the original Halo launched, right? I feel like a new team, people that want to take it upon themselves to make something amazing, let them run with it, come up with their vision for it, and see what you can do, right? Does that mean a reboot? Does that mean a jump in the timeline? Who knows exactly? It could be anything. But I have high hopes for it. I don't want to live in a world without Halo games to look forward to, right? I don't think that is this. Some people are spelling that this is the end of Halo, right? Yeah. Some people are saying this doesn't matter at all, right? For me, it is a big difference, because when you cut the campaign team away from 343, pretty much they were only focusing on multiplayer. That's a big deal for me, right? That means that we don't have any team really that's going to be in place to make a Halo campaign, right? And this is the first time that has been the case since ever. I mean, like 343 was formed and they started forming that before Bungie was out.
Right.
You know, like that. So what do we know? Like this is the future is uncertain. I just hope for the best of it, man. Like, and this is just because I'm passionate about Halo. Like, I really want it to be great. And I was one of those people that said, don't delay it, because I wanted to play it so bad. I could live without the co-op. I could live without Forge. That didn't matter. I expected maps to come out every month or two. You know what I mean? I expected I expected a content roadmap with the live service stuff, and I was ready to go. And and they just didn't deliver on that. I mean, they went 6-month seasons. You know what I mean? It's like, who does it? You can't launch a game and do that. And that's why we're in the situation that we are now, because it didn't succeed. If Halo Infinite was a phenomenon again, and it was like breaking records and the #1 game out there and played, this wouldn't. You think they'd be laying off people from 343 and mass?
Maybe hiring.
It's just. It is a big deal. It doesn't spell the end of Halo, but it does mean potentially a difference for Halo in the future.
Right. There's no reason to believe, either one of you two believe, that this affects the BR mode from certain affinity at all.
I mean, I don't know. Who knows? We don't. I mean,
yeah,
we don't even know if it's really real. We don't know. Maybe in cost-cutting maneuvers, they decided to get rid of it. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say. I think it's probably still in development with an eye of releasing maybe in 2024. Okay. But with anything with Halo now, it's just kind of like up in the air, maybe.
Yeah. I just threw that out there because it's just, you don't know how far, wide reaching this could be depending on what they internally are looking at doing with the franchise. Obviously keeping the multiplayer going, and you could simply say, well, the battle royale is going to be a part of the multiplayer in some fashion, and so no, they're going to continue to do it. But like you just said, Rand, cost cutting wise, maybe they told certain affinity, we're already working with you on the Monster Hunter deal, this battle royale, we're just not going to use it now because Halo's in a tough spot right now. And we're just going to solely focus on the multiplayer aspect that we've already got in place. So
that's the biggest thing. If they had the layoffs for me and they didn't add the comments about we're focusing on the multiplayer and live service, then I'd be like, well, they still have a team. But no, they shifted. The campaign team is not there. They're all multiplayer now.
Right.
So that's the thing to me. It's not necessarily the number of people. It's just the fact that they have drawn a line about that they're not working on campaign stuff. Yeah. Hey, 343 is not working on this. The biggest news for me, I understand all the layoffs are important and I feel horrible for the employees, but gaming wise for me, out of this, just looking at video games, the biggest news out of that side of it is 343 is not working on campaign content right now. Point blank. That is what you need to know. Let me bring that to your attention again, everybody. 343 is not working on campaign content for Halo Infinite or Halo beyond that at all. That's the reality of it.
It's a big statement.
It's true. That Pierre said that. It's not coming from me. That's not coming from me. That's coming from the studio head of 343. He said it in a different way, but he's saying we're focusing on multiplayer and live service content with our resources. I mean, that's just that's the same thing. They're not working on campaign content at 343 for Halo.
Correct. Nope.
So, I don't know.
Shane G, member for 2 months. Thanks, Shane, for always showing up, brother. Appreciate you, man. Says Insider Gaming just said no changes for Halo. I just took a look at it that they did put out an article and said Halo Infinite plans for 2023 not changed after layoffs. Insider claims. So,
well, did we expect any campaign content this year anyway? I mean,
no,
we did not. So that doesn't.
It was only a season, right? Are we getting a new season? Supposedly,
season 3 is supposed to be March,
and they're going for seasonality after that. So every 13 weeks they're shooting for new seasons, which we can live with that, right? If that's the case, But the fact that we don't have a future plan for campaign content is as alarming to me as a Halo fan, because we all expected there to be campaign content with this 10-year plan for Halo Infinite, especially with how it ended. And we remember how much of the game was supposedly cut back. We maybe hoped they were working on that to wrap that up and add it into this. Right. You know what I mean? Or later as extended content. The endless, remember all that stuff?
Right.
The endless stuff, what's supposed to be coming with the endless, now that they're not working on it, guys. They're not working on that. So things have changed with the original plan for this game. This was not meant to be, we're going to launch a Halo game and then 10 years later launch another campaign. This was supposed to be something where you're getting expanded storytelling and stuff like that. Like, I feel like, like also the core of the team focusing on multiplayer, that's what they're going to be doing. So when you want to decide to kick up a single player again, what do you do at that point? Just take everybody off the, like, so you got to, when are you going to wait 10 years? Like, I just, or you got to bring more people in, start hiring again from scratch and start a whole new team again for campaign. It's just not a good thing for Halo campaigns right now. Right? Or maybe it's a great thing for the multiplayer, right? Maybe it'll be in the best place possible. But ever since we've known, when the last Halo games wrapped, they start, working on the ideas for the next Halo game and what it's going to be. And, they start working on the campaign or pre-production, all this stuff. And, when you lay off 130 people from that team, that's not what's going on right now.
No,
so
it's not, obviously. Focus has shifted big time. And it was a massive decision. So, wow, 2 hours blew by, brothers, blew absolutely by. Rand, I know you kind of got to get out of here. It's 2 hours in. But before you go, Rand, I got to ask you, Scalebound coming back? Yes or no?
Scalebound. I mean, here I could see Xbox and Platinum working together.
Yes.
I totally could see that. I know Xbox wants to have more Japanese exclusives. Platinum's been very vocal about their desire to like work on Scalebound or other projects. So should they bring it back? I guess the question is like if Platinum came to them like we want to work together and Xbox is like okay, and Platinum's like we want to resurrect Scalebound. Should Xbox be like okay, yeah, we're cool with that? I could see reasonings why for PR wise you would think, yeah, why not? We make good on a promise. We actually bring back Scalebound. It would look better, run better because Xbox One versus, next gen Series X.
Correct.
So I could see maybe be like, okay, yes. But I mean, like, I think Scalebound also has a lot of baggage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it could ever live up to the hype that people had built in its mind for that game over the years of its cancellation. It wouldn't be the same thing. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know people want it to be true simply so they can just bug me about it every single week on the podcast, being like, "Oh, look!"
And you kind of like it too because you can bug Special Nick with it too, since he decided to resurrect this thing.
Yeah, he decided to resurrect it. Apparently, they're in very early talks, but it's one of those things where it's like it works out well for Nick because, let's just hypothetically assume it is true.
Right.
We wouldn't even get a game announcement probably for years, and at that point, everybody's forgotten about it.
Right.
Nobody remember even Nick said anything about Scalebound. And then if it is actually true, he can just pull up the tweet and be like, see, I told you guys.
Yeah.
And then, or if it gets
he'll
canceled,
be reminding everybody.
or if it gets canceled or turned into something else, he can be like, well, I did say it was just early talks.
Right.
So
are you saying
that
he's just playing a wild card in hopes of being able to cash in on it?
No, I'm not saying he's playing a wild card. I fully believe that he was told this. But it doesn't necessarily mean that like things couldn't change in the future. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I'd rather have Platinum make something new rather than bring back a game not many people were interested in the first place, and I will die on that hill. The only people were not interested in Scalebound until it was canceled. That's it.
I was on PlayStation 4 and was the one game I was excited for Xbox for.
You weren't excited to wear your Beats by Dre and ride a dragon?
Yes, I like all that weird stuff.
Yeah.
You know me. I like the Japanese flavor.
It didn't even look good in the gameplay segments.
It did, though. Outside of the frame rate,
it looked awful. It looked awful. It looked so boring. I was in the crowd in 2016 where they showed off the 4-player co-op demo, the boss fight.
All right,
that was one of the most boring things I'd ever seen. I was like, whoa. And then all of a sudden it was like, it was supposed to be playable and it wasn't. And then like soon after it was canceled.
Rand's the only one of us that's seen Scalebound in person. So
that's true.
I mean, I didn't see Sales Scalebound in person. I was just at the E3 26. You know what demo I'm talking about,
Yeah,
Pong?
yeah.
Yes,
Like
I
where
do.
they're all
I
fighting
do.
the spider.
Yes.
Awful.
Bro, it was so early. Come on.
So
Come on.
early.
Listen, everybody, first of all, let me sell you on this. Mav, I'll get your opinion here too. But everybody loves a reclamation, right? Project. Everybody loves it when somebody comes back. This is a different Platinum. This is a different Xbox. Xbox not relying on anything to the degree that they were back then as far as content goes. Okay. So if it bombs, it bombs. Sure, people get a good laugh out of it, whatever. But that's it. But again, Platinum Games is the ultimate home run hitter. I've said this ever since I started podcasting, right? Platinum Games is either going to knock it out of the park or they're going to strike out. This is KhAo's baby. He's come out and admitted that this was his baby. This was a game that he's always wanted to make. Unfortunately, again, the stories go back and forth on whose fault, whatever. I don't care about any of that. This is KhAo's baby. Microsoft is holding his baby right now because they own all the IP. If they give him a second chance, I think you get the A team from Platinum, and I think you get their best effort to set things right. And I know KhAo, again, the guy is not a likable dude, okay? I get it. But when they do hit, they hit big. And I think that you could find a unique game out of this from Platinum that could add to the portfolio that's got that Japanese flair, that Eastern style flair that we don't see a whole lot of. We're seeing more now, obviously. Xbox is doing great bringing in games. But it would be, I think you get the home run out of them this time around. And I think they go back, they redo the game. Obviously, again, much more experienced now, Platinum, with Unreal Engine, all that kind of stuff, whatever the case may be. I just think that you got a real chance. And I think you take the risk. Obviously, the contract has to be locked down. You can't have them, running off with money or whatever the hell happened back then. But I think you do get their best shot. You get their best foot forward this time around if you give them a second chance. That's why I want to see it happen. Mav, is it happening or not?
Is it happening? I have no earthly idea. I know the Platinum wants it to happen. So if Platinum wants it to happen that bad, maybe Microsoft will decide to go ahead and run with it. Here's the thing: it's Microsoft's money, not mine. So if they take a risk, it's not like I've said this before. It's not like they have only a few games in the works now, like they did in the past. And if Scalebound something bad happens, then we're like, oh, we were all our hopes were on Scalebound, So I feel like if it worked out, great. If it didn't, okay. Either way, I got lots of other stuff to play. I think it's worth taking a risk on because it would be awesome if it turned out good, right?
Right.
And it's not my money to waste. So, and we'll get it in Game Pass either way. So if that happens, my investment is not, really a hard decision either. Where it's just investing a little time to try it out. So, Platinum can make big hits like Bayonetta, Nier Automata, Astral Chain, or they can have big flops like Babylon's Fall, right?
Correct.
I feel like if you did give them another chance on it, you'd get their best effort on this time, because they don't want to screw over Microsoft again.
And they did hire a Nintendo exec, a former Nintendo exec, to run the ship now, which definitely helps stabilize a lot.
I'm all for it. I don't know if it's happening, but Platinum is a team that does exclusive games for different publishers and platform holders. So maybe Microsoft gives them another swing because they got their big games on other platforms, even though the PlayStation Square Enix game flopped big time and to a crazy degree. I would be definitely okay with it. But here's another idea, right? I'm just going to throw this out there, okay? You just laid off all the 343 campaign team. How about Platinum Games makes the new Halo?
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Give it to Hideki Kamiya. He can do it all by himself.
Woo!
Yeah.
Talk about outside the box.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's outside the box. Oh my God. Can you imagine if that got announced?
We get like Metal Gear Rising, or they call it Halo Rising. Hey,
that could be fantastic though.
You just get like Spartans sliding around, hacking and slashing and
Oh,
stuff
with the
like
energy
that.
sword.
Yeah,
Master
let's
Chief
go.
running around just permanently with the energy sword doing Devil May Cry style. Oh my God, that'd be freaking amazing.
I'll play
You're
it.
onto something. You're onto
Let's
something.
go.
I would play it too.
Yeah,
Come on, Rand.
why
You gotta
not?
be
Be
excited for that.
crazy. Maybe you could play as a grunt.
Wow. No, we're not playing as grunts. That'd be terrible. All right. Great conversations tonight, brothers. Again, this 2 hours just absolutely flew by. Wonderful PM in the PM tonight. Chat, you guys were absolutely amazing.
Yeah. We got some more super chats real quick before we get
Do
out
you?
of here.
I didn't see any.
Yeah.
Okay, roll. Sorry.
Alvin hit us with a $5 super chat. Appreciate it. Alvin said, none of PlayStation's current mascots existed the first 12 years of the platform. Mascots can change. It's completely fine. Halo will continue, though.
Yep. Starfield's now the mascot. Thank you.
Starfield is maybe going to supplant Halo's the biggest game on Xbox this year. Who knows? Dead Planet with a $2 super chat says Xbox fandom feels like waiting on the cavalry. Sixth Layer with a $2 super chat says maybe this wasn't up to feel. Sorry, my texting came out a little bit here, y'all. I'm sorry about that.
We got feel up in the house.
Maybe this wasn't up to feel like with Xbox Live. Maybe not. Maybe so.
Maybe not.
I don't know how much it was up to feel. Shane G, member for 2 months. Appreciate you, bro. Said Insider Gaming just said no changes for Halo.
I read that before.
Yeah, and like that is for 2023. Like it's not surprised me whatsoever.
No, it's set.
I'm worried about more 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028 for Halo now.
All right. Are we all caught up?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right. So again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Again, fabulous episode here. Let's get the man with a million out of here. Let's get him out of here. Rand, thank you again, brother, for showing up, giving us your time. Again, it's always appreciated, brother. Never expected. And again, you add so much to these conversations. So thank you for bringing your A game tonight, sir. Appreciate you. If nobody knows you, tell them where they can find you, what you got going on. Are we getting an Xbox 2 show tomorrow to carry me through? Okay.
There should be one tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been doing them on Fridays though a lot more recently.
Yeah.
Yes, you have.
We made that kind of thing, and you know, I think 1 week we did it on a Monday because I think I was sick and we just couldn't do it Saturday or Sunday. But we've been doing our best to being on Fridays.
Is Jez going to be there on time? Is the other question.
He's never there on time. And then when he comes, he drops these things I have to change in OBS, and it's like, and then my OBS crashed last week.
Yes.
And I lost all the things I was changing, so I had to redo everything. And then because it crashed, it also made my mic crackle, which then I had to fix that. It was awful. I always be like, Jez, we got to do this stuff early. You got to be like, I'm in there at like 1:35, setting everything up, waiting. Jez kind of just strolls in like he owns the place at like 2:00.
Well, he is the Batman. You are Robin, so
yeah. So it's just like. It's like, come on. And then he's like, oh, I got all this stuff here. It's like, gotta do this. I'm like, why didn't you come in here at 1:30? Like way in advance so we could get we could just chill, change these things and not have to be stressed about it and people wondering what's going on. But anyways, you can always check me out at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/RandallThor19. Got the Xbox 2 podcast with Jez. Most likely will be tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. I'm sure we'll be talking about a lot of stuff. I don't know Jez's position on any of these things because I haven't really talked to him that much. Yeah. His sleeping schedule is really weird right now.
Yeah.
So, but it was great to talk to both of you because it's been a while.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
been a while. I haven't talked to you. Yeah, I haven't talked to either of you in quite a bit. But you know, I will say that, you know, if Starfield does get delayed, I'll be in their chat. I'll be like, "What's up? What's up, Pong? What's up, Mav?"
You're gonna see angry me. So,
but I mean, on the flip side, if Mav is right, and it's coming 3/23/23 in March, I'll just be like, you know what? Gotta give it to you. You knew. You know?
Gotta. If that happens, if a 3/23/23 launch date actually gets revealed, Rand, you on Xbox 2 podcast, you need to live when you have your most viewers that week because everybody's so hyped for Starfield. You have to go tell everybody to go subscribe to Fun Speculation.
Oh, go subscribe to Fun Speculation
and Living Split Screen.
And Living Split Screen.
and
Yes.
Living Split
Yeah,
Screen
Pong has
because
been
they
on the
both said
323
323 and
Yes,
they were right.
absolutely.
Damn it, they were right.
Yeah, absolutely. But
No,
thanks for
was
being
awesome.
here, man.
Yeah, thanks. And everybody, if you haven't noticed, Rand's got the beautiful new avatar
the new
from
Sean
Mr.
LeBrie avatar.
Sean LeBrie special.
I put it on the
Yes,
screen to show it off instead
Yes.
of your.
It's
instead of
so
your
good,
font.
isn't it? Sean
It
LeBrie
is.
is incredible.
It is.
Yeah, it is fantastic.
He makes everybody a masterpiece. It's amazing. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yes.
He is awesome. No, thanks again, Rand. Again, appreciate you, brother, so much. You just don't understand, man. You've been a big influence on me personally in podcasting and a lot of what I do. So thank you for being here. It's always an honor, man.
But you've gone past me. You're on camera. I'm still rocking the avatar.
Listen,
you know?
yeah, but you rock the Avi and still put up huge numbers. So
Yeah.
you know what? That says something, right? You don't need the camera. You don't need the camera because your content is that good, because your voice is that good, sir.
Ooh.
That's how it works. Yes. So take your props and run with it, sir.
Okay.
I appreciate you, man. Listen, Mav, great show, brother. We knew this was going to be a fun one. We didn't know we were going to have any topics, but my God, obviously we had two big giant discussions tonight, and it was fantastic. So thank you, brother, for all you do behind the scenes. And tell everybody what we got coming up on Fun Speculation Empire for the rest of the week here.
The Empire
The
will
Empire.
be back with more content for the rest of the week. Yeah. Tomorrow night, we got Xbox Ultimate. And if you weren't there last week, it got a little sideways because Kate was there and she threw out some crazy comments here and there. But it was a blast as always. And it should be a blast tomorrow night as well. So tune in tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern to Xbox Ultimate. And then we will be back on Monday for Fun Speculation Podcast. We will talk about more things. Hopefully, we will have some more Sony and Nintendo stuff or something else to talk about. Xbox is always dominating the news, and that's not just us. It's just the way it is, right? And then also game streams. And we will be live next week, everybody, for the Developer Direct on the 25th. So that's Wednesday. So Wednesday.
And I did confirm, Mav, I will be there for sure.
Right on.
So
sweet. So tune in. We'll go live about 30 minutes, maybe an hour before the show. Talk about everything, and then the live stream it and stuff like that. That night also, believe I will be able to be on Primetime Gaming on Mr.
nice.
Boomstick's
You and the
channel.
rest of the entire community.
Yeah,
we've got everybody.
Talk about what's going on there. But yeah, we're looking forward to that Developer Direct, man. It's gonna be a fun week next week, and but yeah, check us out playing whatever we play. Or Sunday night, I'm hoping maybe I can start doing like a just one person like chat stream or something like that. It seems to go off well. It depends on what there's to talk about. Like it's you got to have enough to talk about, right? So, but Rand, again, it's a pleasure to have you here, man. I listen to because we're doing so much content, I don't listen to as much content anymore because you're always doing something or whatever. But Xbox 2 is one that I try and make sure I listen to like every week because you guys just really like nail it with information. Jez has got the insider scoop sometimes as well. But just a great show you guys do. I am excited that y'all have more content since y'all started the Patreon. Y'all have expanded what you guys are doing, and your channel is just growing even bigger than ever before. So congrats on that, man. It's good to see good guys and good shows get
Thank
the
you.
recognition they deserve. But Pong, tell us
Yes,
about
sir.
the 20 things you got going on this week.
I don't know,
Pong's
funny
everywhere.
things. I don't. I'm not anymore. Real life's terrible. We're out of the pandemic. I don't have the free time I want.
Real life is overrated.
It kind of is. I'd rather live in podcasting land personally.
You gonna get a PSVR 2 and just live in the meta?
Oh no, not. I told you not until they get IV. Not until it's the Matrix. When it's the
Okay.
Matrix and I get the IV in and I get the jack in the back of the skull. Yeah, then I'm about it. So, but not until then. Yeah. So this week, listen everybody. You know the drill here. Pong Soul on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter, of course. And then tomorrow night I will be on Xbox Ultimate. Obviously, don't know what time for sure I'll be there, but I am going to try to be there. And like Mav said, we always go left at some point. We laugh a ton there, but we do talk a lot of talk. Hopefully, Psychonauts will not be calling us from space on his 1980s cordless phone this week. Hopefully he's back to normal, but we'll see, because that was kind of fun, actually. Sounded like he was a call-in the entire time. Otherwise, of course, Saturday mornings, you all know it. Set the alarm, set the reminders. Mission 3K. Steel has raised the bar. We're going to need a lot of help, folks. A lot of help. But Living Split Screen every Saturday morning. Split Screen is all one word. Find us. Tell a friend. Bring a friend. 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time. We get your Saturday started the right way. So be there every Saturday for Living Split Screen. Me and my brother Steel, we're going to talk a lot. We're going to have some rants. Okay, this week is a week of rants. We don't
What
do
you gonna
that
be
much
ranting
here.
about? What you gonna be ranting about?
Well, this week gaming journalism is going to be in my sights. I haven't done a gaming journalism rant in a while, but man, this week has
game
given
rant.
me some fodder.
What did they say again, real quick? I'm sorry.
Starfield's gonna be lost because of No Man's Sky, right?
That's,
Was that it?
That's one of them, and
What?
then good old Luke Plunkett from Kotaku decided to hop on Twitter
Xbox
today.
fans are the most toxic.
Yes, sir. Oh, we're gonna have fun on
I
Saturday
think
morning. So please
Kotaku
be-
is the most toxic journalistic site out there, if for actually what's claiming to be a journalistic site.
Yes,
That thing's a
they
piece
are a
of
meme
shit
at
now.
this point.
Yeah.
They are freaking awful.
joke
I'm embarrassed to
more
say I
than
ever read them at one point when they were actually.
Well,
decent.
that was a different Kotaku back then.
It was a
right?
totally
Yeah.
different Kotaku. but
Game
insane.
rant too, man. Like I don't.
Yeah,
what the
game rant?
fuck was
Oh
the
my
point of that article? That's just
No.
a clickbaity thing all the way. You know.
Oh,
Like,
so yeah, Saturday morning, be there. It's going to be fun. Steel and I are going to get down to business on everybody. So be there. And then, of course, Shop Podcast Saturday night, PTK Blam's channel. Fuzzy Belvedere is there. I'm there as well. And this week, we have the fabulous KhAos. Shout out to KhAos on Saturday night. So we are going to have a freaking fantastic time Saturday night. We end your Saturday nights the right way over on the Shop Podcast. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time. Next week, it's always Xbox Factor on Tuesdays, although I can't be there. But you got to show up because Boom is doing big things 5 days a week now, and Xbox Factor is amazing. Always has a great panel. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Be there for the Factor. And then, of course, right back here. Well, Mav already said it. Wednesday, I will be live with Mav for the Developer Direct. It's going to be a fun time, and it's going to be a blast. So be there for that. And then Thursday, I'll be back here, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM every Thursday. So can't wait to talk to you then because we're going to have a lot of news next week. I can guarantee you that. Otherwise, it is the golden age of gaming, people. Please understand that. No better time ever in history than to be a gamer than it is right now. We got content coming. Mav and I will be talking a lot of Age of Empires coming up next week on Friday, after Friday launches as well. So be ready for some RTS talk, folks. It's coming. Love you all. Play what you love what you play. Enjoy your Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you all real soon. Mav, get us out of here, brother.
Peace.